Welcome to Higgins Stadium. I am Nicole Allen here with Alex Chaprut, and we will be on the call for this Liberty League semifinals game between the RPI Engineers and the Ithaca Bombers. Alex, how are we feeling today?
Feeling great, Nicole. It's a picturesque day today for some women's lacrosse. Just cloudy, overcast, and no sun today. It's about mid 70 degrees, so a nice, beautiful day to play some women's lacrosse.
We are about 7 minutes from the first draw of this game. Alex, I'm going to ask you a couple questions, how we're feeling about this game going into it. So start off, how do you think the Bombers need to perform today in order to get this win against the Engineers?
Well, I think the Bombers need to do exactly what they did just over a month ago, or just under a month ago, on April 13th when they played RPI here at Higgins Stadium. You and I were both on the call for that game. They won that game 20-5 over RPI in regulation. It was a dominating win for the Bombers that continued their winning streak that they're currently on still, which is a winning streak of 12 games, which is the longest streak since 2021. And so I think the Bombers just need to really just play their brand of lacrosse. Dominate the draw circle with Caroline Wise, play some strong offense, keep the offensive zone pressure on the entire time for the on the Engineers side, and I think that they'll really succeed here and advance to Sunday's matchup for the Liberty League Championship Final.
Looking at this Engineer team a little bit, Alex, do you think there's anyone on this team we should look out for?
Well, I mean, obviously, when you're looking at a team and who to look out for, you got to look for their top goal getters, and that is Megan Shea and Ella Graff. Those are the two players that I believe scored in the April game back here at Higgins Stadium for RPI in that 20-5 loss. And so I expect both of those to be impact players for the Engineers today. The Engineers need to learn from their mistakes in that regular season matchup. The RPI Engineers came here to the South Hill and tried to play a bit of keep away with the Bombers, trying to play way too much defense. They were not able to get many draws against Caroline Wise successfully. They need to find a way to get draws against Wise and then take it and get clean offensive possessions in their offensive zone if they want any chance of winning this game today.
And to ask you the same question, but on the Bomber side, who on this team do you think you need to look out for, and do you think will be big key players today?
Well, I mean, it all starts in the draw circle, Nicole, as we talked throughout this entire season. And obviously, when we're talking about the draw circle, you got to talk about Caroline Wise, the most dominant draw controller in the entire Liberty League and one of the best in the entire country at all levels of division of NCAA lacrosse. She's currently leading the conference with 145 draw controls, another dominating season for her in the draw control circle. If she plays like she did against RPI back in April, I truly think that there is no chance for the RPI Engineers to come back and win this one. And then also, you got to look at her co-star in Maisie Veach, who is currently one goal behind Sydney Phillips for the team lead in goals. She has 45 so far this season, along with 31 assists. She's top 5 in the Liberty League in assists. So I think those two and that connection between the two of them are going to be very, very strong for the Bombers today.
In overall play, what is going to be key for the Bombers? Not looking at a specific player, but overall as a team, what will be key for them today in this game?
Well, it's really all about draw control and goalkeeping. I truly think are going to be the two biggest difference today. When you look at goalkeeping, Lexi Held, she's been a stud all year long for the Bombers. 9.03 goals against average, top 5 in the Liberty League. Not to mention second in the Liberty League in saves, only behind William Smith's goaltender. And Lexi Held 138 saves on the season so far. So she's been absolutely fantastic so far this year. And I think she's going to show out today. Not to mention the defense around her. If they can keep a low number of shots that actually make it to Held today, I think Ithaca's defense is going to do very well. And like I already said, Caroline Wise in the draw circle, if she dominates the way that we've seen that she can, Nicole, then truly it's going to be a long day in the office for the Engineers.
And I want to ask you the same question about the Engineer side. Once again, looking at the team overall instead of specific players, what do they need to do?
Well, it really comes down to their offense, Nicole, and they really struggled to break through the Ithaca defense when they even had offensive possessions last time in April. And so really, I would look for them to try and slow things down. I think RPI tried to rush a little bit too quickly, and they also had some inaccurate passes in the offensive and neutral zone back in that regular season game in April. If RPI wants to have a chance today, they have to be able to get offensive possessions, but also be able to hold it in the offensive zone. They want to draw as much time off of the clock as possible to keep the Ithaca offense off the field and away from their own goalkeeper in Jenny Canfield.
Do you think that Ithaca having home field advantage affects this game at all?
Well, I spoke to head coach of the Ithaca Bombers, Carrie Moore, earlier this week, and she said it absolutely makes a difference. And I think this team, we've seen it over the years, this team plays so much better when they're here at Higgins Stadium than what they do on the road. And for the first time since 2021, they are the #1 seed and have the right to host the entire tournament. So winning today is just the first step of 2 steps for them to get their first ever Liberty League championship.
I will ask you a couple more questions here, Alex. What what is something that the Bombers? I mean, they have been on fire this season. Like you said, they are currently undefeated in the Liberty League play. But if do you have anything that they should clean up this game in order to get this win?
Well, I think it's always good to clean up turnovers, and I think they've done a good job of already doing that so far this season. Last season in the Liberty League, they were #1 in turnovers, having the most. Right now, they're having the 4th most in the Liberty League with 255 so far this season. So they're still a little bit high on that list, probably higher than what I would like to have seen them, but they are still working on it, and they are improving every single game, Nicole. And so I think, once again, limiting turnovers, making sure their passing is crisp throughout the neutral zone and in the offensive zone. I think those are keys in areas of improvement for the Bombers. And I think when talking with head coach Carrie Moore, I asked her, what did this team improve on the most from last season to this season? And she said the chemistry and the connection of this team is really one of their strengths. And I think it really shows in their passing, Nicole. I mean, their passing this year has been so much better, so much more crisp, so much more pinpoint, able to feed it into spots where they weren't even able to attempt those passes last year. They have been able to find them and complete them accurately and successfully this season, and that has made a massive difference, not only in the neutral zone, but also for this offense overall.
And Alex, you said this earlier to me before this broadcast started. We do have William Smith and Union playing right now against each other at the same time in the other semifinal game. How do you think that game is going to go?
It's going to be William Smith. I mean, William Smith, when they came here to the South Hill to play the Bombers, when the Bombers blew the doors off of the Herons earlier in April, they were not at full strength. They were missing 2 key defenders due to injuries. Those defenders are back, and I expect William Smith, who is cleaning up their Liberty League schedule to end the season after that Ithaca loss. Truly, I think William Smith's going to take that one. I don't think Union has much of a chance. I mean, truly, every analyst that you probably talked to at the beginning of this season could have predicted Ithaca and William Smith in the Liberty League Championship final to determine who gets the outright bid to the NCAA tournament, and I truly think that's what we're going to see here today. Obviously, Ithaca still has to beat RPI, William Smith has to beat Union, but I think both of these games should be pretty well in hand for those teams, barring something unthinkable happening.
All right, Alex, I think you covered almost anything we could touch on in this pregame. I mean, the clock is winding down to 15 seconds. Final question for you. Who do you have winning?
I have Ithaca. A strong win. I want to see them at least get to 22 goals. I want to see them just beat their own standard of what they already set in the regular season. I would like to see them get to 22 goals, and I'd like to see them limit RPI to less than 5. That's what I'd like to see. And also, RPI, if they were to pull off the upset, they would be making history, as they would be making it back to the Liberty League final for the first time since 2014. So over a decade now that they are trying to make it back to the Liberty League final and a chance to claim a Liberty League championship.
All right, well, I think we're going to wrap this up here. They're currently announcing starters, and then we will do the national anthem. So we will be back on the call in just a couple minutes to get this game for you guys. Once again, welcome back to Higgins Stadium. I'm Nicole Allen here with Alex Chaprout, and we are happy to bring this game to you. This is the Liberty League semifinal game with the RPI Engineers playing the Ithaca Bombers here on their home turf. It is bound to be a good one. Alex, once again, how are we feeling?
Feeling great, Nicole. I mean, beautiful national anthem, beautiful day here on the South Hill. I mean, the weather has finally started to warm up. It feels like always the Ithaca winters last for so long. Finally, now that we've reached May, it's finally time for the sun to come out, the weather to warm up a little bit, and truly just the scenery to turn beautiful here on the South Hill.
So true. Like you said, Alex, a beautiful day on the South Hill. The sun is not shining too much. There are some clouds in the sky, but as a former lacrosse player, that's personally my favorite time to play lacrosse. I feel like the sun very much blinds you when you're on the field and makes you a lot more hot than you need to be.
Well, we could see some shadows late in this game. We do know how the sun sets on the South Hill. The shadows will be cast over the A&E Center onto the field, so that might come into effect or a little bit later on. And as you were saying, a lot of these players probably agree with you, Nicole. They would love to see these clouds stay probably for the rest of the evening.
All right, both teams are now huddling up on their sideline, getting ready for this game to start out in just a few moments. The Bombers are taking the field now, just waiting for the Engineers to as well.
And one thing that we did know, Nicole, both of us were a little bit surprised by this. Kira Abdel Saeed, she is a first year out of Bedford, New Hampshire. She made the starting lineup today and against Ithaca back in April. Those are the only two games she started, so a little bit of an interesting play there by head coach Leslie Delano, who's bringing out the first year against the number 10 ranked Ithaca Bombers to have her be playing on defense starting rather than one of her more experienced defenders.
Yes, definitely an interesting thing to look at, Alex. Thank you for bringing that up. All right, we are going to bring it to the draw circle now to start this game off. For the Bombers, we have Caroline Wise on the circle, and for the Engineers, we have Emily Speck to take this draw control. Refs is taking a little bit of time to line this up, and we are about to get underway here on the South Hill. Ball is up, and the game has started. There's a fight for it, but Lexi Kellish is able to get that draw control and bring it into the Bomber offensive zone. She rushes in and decides to pull it behind the net. She tries to feed it into the 8, but it is a turnover with an Engineer interception, and they are now currently trying to get it up the field into their attacking zone.
Good play there by Bethy Spizo, able to read the pass that Kellish was trying to make, intercept it, and get the turnover and get it back for her offense.
The Engineers have now brought it into their attacking zone with Caroline Wise playing hard defense against them on the far sideline. Ball is behind the goal now with Audrey Silverman, who passes it up to Laura DeLeo. Ball is now up top with Gabby Valley, who didn't start the game, so that's a quick switch off here to start this game off for the Engineers. They now have it behind the goal. Once again, it is up to DeLeo on the sideline here, over to Speck, up across to a teammate in Ella Graff, who's now holding it on the far sideline.
And RPI taking their time to set up their offense here. Only 30 seconds left on the shot clock, doing what I said in the pregame show that they should be doing.
Graff drives into the 12-meter, but it is dropped because of tough defense, and Lexi Kellish is able to pick it up and cause a turnover for the Bombers. She is now rushing into their attacking zone and brings it in on the far sideline.
Great start for Kellish to start the game. A draw control win and a cause turnover to start the game off for her.
Definitely a great start for Kellish. We now bring it back to their attacking zone. Ball is currently with Lee Natural on this near sideline. She passes it up to Lily Cody, who drives into the 8-meter, tries to take a shot, but there's an Engineer defender, and that defender will get shooting space, causing Cody to take a early 8-meter shot in this game.
This is a free position shot here for Cody. First one of the game, and she was quickly double-teamed by the Engineers, making sure that the speedy Cody is not going to be the one to beat them.
Cody drives in, takes a shot, and it is a save by Engineer goalie Jenny Canfield.
Canfield looked like she lost that one for a moment, but it was able to take a deflection and bounce away from the goal.
The Bombers now have the ball back with Kellish having it on this far sideline. She passes it up to Cody, who passes it over to Wise. Wise holding the ball, looking what's open, but she passes back to Cody, back to Kellish. Kellish looking as well. She passes it down to Chloe Nordyke, who tries to pass it into Lee Natural right above the crease, but the ball goes above her. But Wise is able to carry it and get the ball back and carry it around again. Kellish is now driving into the 8 with the ball, but pulls it out and options to pass it to Cody because of high defense pressure. Cody passes it over to Wise. Wise looking to feed into the middle to Nordyke. Nordyke takes a shot on goal, but it does go wide next to the right post, but the Bombers will get the ball back.
And Nordyke, a prime scoring opportunity there, left alone in the middle of the 8-meter zone, one-on-one against her defender, able to make a move and get a shot off, just not accurate enough to put it in the net.
Ball's currently at the top of the 12 with Cody rushing in. She takes a shot, but once again, a great save by Canfield. Canfield has made 3 great saves to start this game off for the Engineers, and they will now clear the ball up at the field into their attacking zone.
And Canfield, a much better start than her last time out here against Ithaca, where she gave up 4 goals in the first quarter to start that game back in April. So already good to see her to get a couple saves early.
Definitely. The Engineers fumbled a pass in the neutral zone, but were able to pick it back up and now have the ball once again. Whistle is blown for a push out of bounds against the Bombers, I think, so the Engineers will get the ball back on their far sideline.
It's going to be against Veach, and it will be a green card, so there's going to be 1 minute of a woman-up opportunity for the Engineers to start this game, and this is truly something that we didn't see back in April, Nicole, how the Engineers are playing a lot tougher right now than what they were back almost a month ago.
Definitely, Alex. And one other interesting thing to note, it's interesting that Beach got that green card while they were already in their attacking zone, because the green card is only for the neutral zone, so definitely an interesting call from the refs there. We're going to bring it back to the Engineer attacking zone, where Speck has the ball at the top of the 12. She passes it over to Shea, who passes it down to DeLeo. Ball is behind the net with one of her teammates right now. It looks like it was Silverman who passes it, who has the ball now. She's driving into the 8, but loses it due to defensive pressure.
And I think RPI is doing a little bit too much right now, trying to drive in against double teams right now. They're trying to push in with 2 Ithaca defenders trying to guard one of their players, and they're not looking for the clean, crisp passing to one of their cutting teammates. And I think that's one of the switches that RPI has to make in this game, because Ithaca's not going to let them push in and do solo hero work.
100%, Alex. We now have DeLeo trying to drive into the 8-meter, but there is high defensive pressure. She tries to pass it off across the 8 to a teammate, but the ball goes high and goes out of bounds. And the Bombers will now have possession, and they are currently driving into the neutral zone with it, trying to get it to their attacking zone.
And this is a much slower start for the Bombers than what they had in the regular season against RPI. They scored 4 goals in the first quarter, as I mentioned. And right now, almost 5 minutes into this game, and they still haven't put up one and really had a great offensive opportunity yet. And so it's certainly interesting to see. RPI has definitely learned, I think, for a little bit from their mistakes in that last matchup.
100%, Alex. We're going to bring it back to their offensive zone right now, where Chloe Nordyke has the ball on this near side of the goal. She passes it up to Kellish, who passes it over to Cody at the top of the 12, over to Phillips, who passes it down to Veach in her office on the far side of the goal. Veach tries to get into the 8, takes a shot, but another save by Canfield, and the Engineers will get possession once again. Definitely a slow start here, Alex.
And that's one of the drives that I was talking about with RPI being an issue for, and Veach just does exactly what I said that RPI shouldn't be doing, which is trying to do it all herself. And I understand Veach is a great player. She's she's a previous 2-time All-American. I mean, she's absolutely fantastic in the offensive zone, but she needs to look for those passes.
Engineers now have it in their attacking zone. A whistle is blown, and it looks like it'll be against Liney Dutton, against Chloe Maggie Mandel, excuse me. And it will be a free position shot for the Engineers with Silverman taking the shot. Silverman takes the shot, but it is Lexi Held's first save of the game. Great save there by Held.
Held hadn't really been tested yet so far, and Silverman on that first free position opportunity opted to go sidewinder shot. Held more than an up to the challenge there. Now I think they're trying to go fast break.
With Phillips passing it over to Wise, who passes it over to Veach right at the bottom of the crease, and it is the first goal of the game is scored by Maisie Veach right on the crease, and the score will be 1-0 with the Ithaca Bombers leading.
And Ithaca, it took almost 6 minutes now to get that first goal, but now that they got that first one, I think they're going to try and build with that and build the momentum that they love to build during these games. They love to get on goal-scoring streaks, and they love to just dominate in the offensive zone and in the draw control circle, and that's really thanks to Caroline Weiss. It all starts with her, and really that's how teams are able to go on these runs. They are able to win in the draw control circle, and Ithaca is so great at that because they have such a good draw controller in Weiss, and so I would not be surprised if she gets the draw, they're going to go right back in and try and get another one.
Absolutely, Alex. And I think, like you said, that was definitely the momentum that they needed. Started with Held with a great save over to Dutchinson and a great textbook fast break for the Bombers. Hopefully, this gets them the momentum. And like you said, we will see some good draw controls and more goals by them.
And it was RPI who actually struck first in the regular season matchup against the Bombers. And Ithaca took almost the exact same amount of time to get their first goal in that April game than what it did in this one. However, this time, Ithaca is able to strike first as they were able to keep RPI out up until now.
Changing the narrative a little bit, I see. We're going to bring it back to the draw circle where the second draw of the game was just blown up. And it looks like the Engineers will get that draw control. And a Bomber did fall in the circle.
It was Elizabeth
called.
Green, but there was no call there on a foul, which I'm surprised considering Green looked like she got shoved to the ground, but no call there from the refs.
We now look to the ball. It is on this far sideline with Shea having it. She looks to drive into the 8 but has high defensive pressure. She tries to feed it into a teammate right on the crease, but she does not catch it, and the Bombers will get that ground ball to cause a turnover with Wise driving up this near sideline. She passes it over to Phillips, and Phillips will drive it into the attacking zone for the Bombers. She could go on a fast break, but she options to pull it behind the net, try and settle it down, see what the Bombers can do here. She passes it over to Veach. Veach looking to make a move. She passes it up to Green. Green looking to drive into the 12, does a little dodge, takes a shot, but it goes wide, but the Bombers will get possession once again. We now have Veach coming back in with the ball on this near side of the goal this time. She passes it up to Esposito, who passes it over to Cody, over to Wise. Wise now has it right on the far sideline. She passes it down to Nordyke. Nordyke drives into the 8, takes a shot, but it goes above the crossbar once again.
And Nordyke, a little bit of an interesting play there. She switched sides with Veach. Normally, Veach is on that far side, Nordyke on the near side. She flipped with Veach on that play, trying to switch up the defender matchup and trying to get an isolation play maybe.
Definitely an interesting take. Cody drives in to the 8 from the top of the 12 and does score the second goal for the Bombers. Alex, how are we feeling?
This is a great start for the Bombers. This is exactly what I was talking about. They love to build goal-scoring streaks, and obviously they didn't get the draw to start, and they were able to bring it straight in. But what they were able to do is play solid defense, get the ball back, bring it down in, and get a clean opportunity. And Cody, once again, using her speed. She's shown that all season long. That's her 37th goal of the season, able to use her speed, cut into the 8-meter, and beat Canfield one-on-one.
Definitely a slow start for the Bombers, but I'm not mad about it. I mean, it looks like they're playing really well, and they're gaining the momentum they need.
I feel like it's not really a slow start. It's just, I think, because it's the playoffs, Nicole, and truly, all of these teams, no matter who they're going to play, it's going to be tougher for the Bombers to do anything against their opponents in the playoffs and in this Liberty League tournament than what it was in the regular season. So I think RPI has shown that they're playing a little bit tougher. They're being a little bit harder to go in and get those goals against, and also be a little bit harder in the draw circle, as we've already seen. Wise has already lost one.
Definitely, Alex. The third draw is up, and there we go with Wise getting her first draw control of this game. She passes it off to Cody, who's driving in to the attacking zone. She drives through the 12-meter, drops the ball right at the 8-meter, but is able to pick it back up. She passes it to Green at the top of the 12. Green looking to do something here. She drives in on the side, but pulls it out and passes it over to Veach on the far side of that goal. Veach looking to do something here. She passes it into Wise, who is wide open right above the crease at the bottom of the 8, but the ball is dropped, and the Engineer goalie will get it.
That's such a lucky break for the Engineers, because if Wise had gotten that pass, that would have been a goal right there. She was left all alone. I don't know how you miss one of the tallest players on the entire field, Wise standing at 5'10". I don't know how you leave her all alone in the middle of the 8-meter fan, but RPI did it, and they're very lucky that it did not cost them.
Very, very lucky, Alex. They are now on the offensive side of the field for them, with the ball being behind the goal. It's passed up top to the top of the 12, with Valley now having the ball for the Bombers. She passes it over to Shea, who passes it down to it looks like it's DeLeo. DeLeo passes it right back up to Valley. She drives into the 8-meter, but there's defensive pressure, which will be called as shooting space against Lily Cody. So Valley will get a free position shot here.
And the two scoring opportunities for the Engineers so far have both come on free position shots. Held able to save the first. Let's see if she can save the second.
Valley drives in, shoots, and scores for the Engineers. Held not able to get that second save, and the score will now be 2-1 with Valley scoring that first goal for the Engineers.
And Ithaca, they cannot become over-aggressive on the defensive side. They cannot be giving up, especially within that 8-meter zone. They cannot be giving up those free position shots because that's going to be harder for Lexi Held to save it. If Lexi Held, is able to face more of a contested shot from the outside, it's going to be a lot easier for her to save it compared to one-on-one with an attacker off of a free position shot. And so I think that's an adjustment that needs to be made. Ithaca cannot become over-aggressive and can be committing too many fouls. That's really going to cost them here, and it's going to keep RPI around in this game.
I couldn't agree more, Alex. We're going to bring it back to the draw circle now for this fourth draw of the game here with Wise and Spec on the draw circle once again for each team. Ref is setting it up here now. Whistle is blown. Ball is up in the air. Wise gets this draw control, second of the game, and passes it right off to Veach, who's driving into the 8-meter. She pulls it behind the goal, passes it off to Nordyke, who passes it up to Cody at the top of the 12. Cody looks to do something, dodges her defender, is driving into the 8-meter, takes a shot, but once again, another save by Canfield. Canfield having that outstanding performance so far for saves.
Canfield keeping this one close. That's her third save of the game so far, and that was a contested one. That one came off of the actual stick handle itself. She was able to get to it.
Looks like the Engineers will now do a fast break with Silverman taking a shot right in the middle of the 8, but Lexi Held saving it for the Bombers, and the Bombers will get the ball once again. It seems like it may be a turnover against the Bombers with Lily Cody throwing a long ball over Chloe Nordyke's head, and the Engineers will once again get the ball with Speakzo driving into the attacking zone for the Engineers.
And I think a sloppy pass there that results in a turnover and gives RPI another chance to go and get a goal and tie this one up.
Ball is now with Bangelmeaver on the near sideline. She passes it up to DeLeo, who passes it over to Spec. Spec passes it over to the far sideline, and the ball now moves behind the goal with Silverman. Silverman looking to feed from the behind the goal here, possibly make a dodge. And she tries to dodge, but has bad defensive pressure, so she passes it up to Valley, over to Kama. Kama has it at the top of the 12. She feeds it in to DeLeo. DeLeo takes a shot on goal right in the middle of the 8, but it is once again saved by Lexi Held, and the Bombers will once again get the ball back with Maddie Mandel driving in the neutral zone.
That was a really good save there by Held. Able to go low against that DeLeo shot and able to come up with the save. Keep this one a 1-goal lead for the Bombers. However, the Bombers really looking for a goal here to try and get their multi-goal lead back.
We will see if Veach is able to do this here as she brings the ball behind the net for the Bombers, switches over to this near side here, passes it up to Juliana Esposito, who passes it to the top, almost near the restraining line, over Chloe Nordyke's head, and it will be a long pass, and the Engineers will get the ball back. But it will be a charge against the Engineer who got that ball, and the Bombers will once again get the ball
That's
back.
a really interesting call. I thought when the ref blew that whistle, that was going to be a green card against the Bombers there after that new NCAA rule, pressure in the neutral zone as a green card that was implemented this season. And so that was a really interesting call. That's the first charge I think we've seen all season, Nicole, that's gone against the offensive team.
Yes, and interesting to see a charge in the neutral zone as well. You normally only see it in the 8-meter, to be honest. We'll bring it to the attacking zone now for the Bombers with Kellish having the ball. She passes it up to Natural at the top of the 12, over to Wise. Wise looking to do something here, but she options to pass it back to Green. Green over to Kellish once again. Kellish down to Veach, who's on this near side of the goal once again. She tries to pass it into Juliana Esposito, the middle of the 8, but the ball goes wide, but Wise is able to pick it up and pass it back to Veach on this near side of the goal. Veach passes it up to the top of the 12 to Green. Green looking to drive in here. She tries to, but pulls it out due to defensive pressure. Green at the top of the 12 with 30 seconds left on the shot clock. The Bombers have to do something here if they want to get this goal. Chloe Nordyke drives in to the 8th zone, tries to pass it off to Wise right at the top of the crease, but it is a missed catch, and the RPI Engineers will once again get the ball back.
And I think it's playing a little bit of a switch there because of the switch between Nordyke and Veach on their respective offensive sides. Normally, Veach is the one feeding it into Wise there, and maybe Nordyke just doesn't have that same connection with Wise as what Veach does, and so maybe that swap of sides is having an effect on their passing out in their offensive zone.
Definitely, Alex. We'll see if they'll change it up once again and go back to their regular way while this game moves on. But for now, the Engineers will have the ball in their attacking zone with DeLeo having the ball on this near sideline right at the elbow of the 12. She passes it up to Valley with just under 2 minutes left in this first quarter. Ball's on the far sideline now with an Engineer who options to pass it up to Valley once again. Valley looks to drive into the 12 but pulls it out once again, passes it over to an Engineer. It looks like it is Graf, if I'm not mistaken. Graf loses the ball. There is a Bomber goes down, but once again, no whistle blown against the Engineers, and they will have the ball once again. An unlucky pass from the Engineers, goes off the top of a stick, and the Bombers will get the ball back.
And that's an unbelievable call there. Caitlin Russell got hit up high in the headgear on that play, and then there was no call from the ref for the foul, and then they got a lucky break there because it bounced off of, it was McCarthy's stick that took a bad bounce, and it went out of bounds. Bombers get to take it away.
Definitely interesting calls from the refs here early on in this game, Alex.
I don't know about this officiating crew so far.
The Bombers now have the ball with Chloe Nordyke driving in to the 8-meter, but 12-meter, trying to pull it out once again. She does get checked, and the Engineers will get the ball back and drive into their attacking zone now. Unlucky check on Nordyke there from the Engineers.
I don't know how much this Bombers offense has been practicing this flip of sides between Veach and Nordyke in practice, but it doesn't seem like it's been working very much because it's so far been struggling because of that flip, and I think there's a disconnect there with the offensive chemistry, and you know, it's really having an effect as the RPI Engineers take it and score a goal to tie this game.
Yes.
It was number 14, Ella Graf, who gets the goal, and now it's 2-2 now between the Engineers and the Bombers. 10 seconds left to go here in this first quarter.
Definitely a tough position for the Bombers to be in. It's very interesting that they started off the game switching things up. And as you said, it's definitely having an effect on their play.
I don't think this is the time to experiment right now. You know, normally, you know, you would think the time to experiment would be against Bart or against, you know, Clarkson or against, you know, Vassar or one of these other Liberty League opponents that they played earlier on in the season. But now they're bringing this new offensive look out in a playoff game where it's single elimination in this tournament, Nicole. They lose this game, their tournament is done, and maybe their season's done if they don't make it to the final. I mean, they do have an impressive record and have a chance at an out-of-conference bid, but it would be a lot harder if they lose this game.
Yep. I couldn't agree more, Alex. We'll bring it back to the draw circle now where there's a fight for the draw, but the Engineers will get it with DeLeo grabbing that ground ball. DeLeo drops to the ground, and it's a push, but the quarter will end out on that note. And we will go into the second quarter. Alex, what are you thinking?
I mean, this is a really puzzling start for the Bombers. I mean, I think they've played a lot slower and a lot less precise than what I'm used to seeing from them, especially in the second half of their season. They looked some of the best lacrosse we've seen from them in several years, Nicole, and now it looks like everything's reverted back to the beginning of the season. I mean, the digression is crazy. And so I think it's really going to be interesting to see how they make adjustments. And I think Carrie Moore is going to make some adjustments. And I think, you know, maybe there's a little bit of nerves. It is a playoff game. You know, you are hosting. You are the number one seed. You are expected to win this game against RPI. And RPI has really come out here, and credit to them right now. RPI is playing Ithaca tough, and that is something that they did not show at all in their first matchup in the regular season. And they have come out here, they have clearly studied film, they have clearly learned from their mistakes, and they are taking it to the Bombers right now in the Bombers' house.
You took the words out of my mouth, Alex. I was just about to ask you about how the RPI Engineers came out and how it was so unexpected for you.
I mean, truly, I think when you look at the turnover margin, which is normally where you start to see problems with this Ithaca offense, and yes, the turnover margin is in Ithaca's favor, which means that they have 6 turnovers, RPI has 5. That's something that cannot happen right now in this game. Ithaca has worked so hard to clean up their turnovers this season, and now in this first round of the playoffs, it has come back to bite them a little bit here in this first quarter. Obviously, it's still a tied game. There's still plenty of time left in this one to correct that mistake, but that is something that they have to fix going forward. And then another thing to note is that the draw controls right now are going Ithaca's way. However, I would still like to see a little bit more from Caroline Wise and her, I'm trying to say that I would like to see more draw controls from Caroline Wise. I lost my train of thought there.
You're so good, Alex, and I couldn't agree more with you. I mean, Wise only having 2, not even 2. I'm sorry, I'm not seeing the draw controls. Like,
I think the live stats have not updated with the draw controls.
I
They
think
currently
she only has 2 in this game so far, which is definitely something that we would like to see more of in this game with such a dominant player as Wise.
I think there's been a bit of a mix-up here as it has face-offs as the stat on our live stat sheet. It should be draw controls. I think there might have been a disconnect between men's and women's lacrosse there. So that might have to get fixed during one of these breaks.
We will bring it back to the draw circle now to take this first draw of this second quarter with Wise and Speck once again on the circle for the Bombers. Ref is lining up to take this draw right now. Whistle blown, ball is up, and Wise, it looks like, will get that draw control for the Bombers. She passes it right off to Phillips in the middle of the 8, and Phillips will shoot and score a fast break for the Bombers there, but a great one for them with Wise right to Phillips, and Phillips getting that goal. The early start for the Bombers in the second quarter. Alex?
8 seconds. That's all it took for the Bombers to get that draw control coming to the 8-meter fan, and Phillips showing her speed, breaking away from all the defenders. The defenders were completely caught off guard for RPI. They were not expecting Phillips to go on the run. Wise, pinpoint pass to Phillips, bang, tic-tac-toe, boom, past Canfield, and the Bombers start this second period off hot, and clearly they have been woken up a little bit.
I would love to know what was said in that huddle in the middle of quarters.
Oh, I'm sure from what we've spoken with Carrie Moore several times over the course of this season, I'm sure she had her players fired up here and not accepting that level of play from them.
Definitely. Draw up once again. There will be a fight for it on the ground now with the Engineers possibly picking it up. Never mind. A fight for it. Wise is tripped in the neutral zone by an Engineer before possession can be got, and the Bombers will get it now.
And Shea was the one who was stumbling for it. She couldn't even pick it up. She had to throw it back into the neutral zone to try and save it. And then when Wise tried to go and get it, she tripped and knocked over Wise. And there's going to be no card awarded here, which is what you look shocked, Nicole.
I was just about to say that, Alex. No green card awarded to the Engineers for that call, which is very interesting. A trip in the neutral zone definitely qualifies as pressure.
I think that the referees need to look at the rule book or an updated rule book. Maybe a 2024 rule book should be delivered to the refs ASAP.
Definitely. We will bring it to the attacking zone now for the Bombers with Chloe Nordyke passing it over to Lily Cody right in the middle of the 8. Cody does drop the ball, and the Engineers will get that ground ball and get it back.
And I think what we're seeing is that we saw RPI's strategy in the first game was to play defense, play Patrick Mahomes style, anti-Patrick Mahomes style football as there's a scrum for the ground ball.
Scrum for a ground ball on the field now with an Engineer dropping it as she's running. But the Engineer will get it back from a high check from Chloe Nordyke.
And as I was saying, the RPI Engineers were playing anti-Patrick Mahomes lacrosse right now. They were just trying to keep it on their side, played as much defense as they possibly can, and just keep the Ithaca offense off the field, And so, really, I think it's shown a lot more success, and it's worked a lot better in this playoff game than what it was working in April.
We will bring it to the Engineer attacking zone now, where the ball is dropped.
There's going to be a high check on Puppo there for a foul against the RPI Engineers, and it's going to go the Bombers' way.
The Bombers now have the ball. Liney Dutchinson is driving through the neutral zone with the ball. She passes it over to Chloe Nordyke at the top of the 12. Nordyke tries to rush in, but takes it looks like an elbow to the face from an Engineer.
And that's going to be a yellow card there on the Engineers. So 2 minutes, a women up opportunity for the Bombers. And this has been a very physical matchup so far. We've seen a lot of players hit the deck so far in this one, and it's showing really a credit to the toughness of both of these teams and the playoff intensity that we didn't really talk about throughout this broadcast, how both of these teams are very hungry for a Liberty League championship. Obviously, Ithaca never won a Liberty League title. It would be their first conference title of any kind since 2008. And RPI trying to make it back to the final game for the first time since 2014.
Yep, and because of that yellow card, Chloe Nordic will get a free position shot on the center hash right down Broadway. She drives in, takes a shot, but it is once again saved by Canfield.
It was contested by both Bessie Spizzo and Emily Speck, so great job getting their sticks up into the stick of Nordic, making sure that she could not get a clean shot off. However, still a minute 45 for the Bombers to try and get the ball back and get another offensive opportunity.
Looking at this RPI offensive zone now, the ball is on the far side of the goal with Valley. She passes it up to her teammate on the elbow, who options to pull it down once again. They're just playing catch behind the goal at this point. Valley now has it at the top of the 12 here. She passes it over to Graf, who passes it down to Sojourny, it looks like, who's driving around the crease now. She passes it up to Valley once again. Valley up to Shea at the top of the 12. Shea looks to drive in, but passes it down to a teammate who feeds it up to Valley at the top of the crease, but the ball is dropped, and Held will now have it in the crease.
That was a terrifying play as Lexi Held came out of the net to try and intercept the pass, and the RPI Engineers were able to get a pass to the front of the net. Credit to the defense. Maggie Mandel, Caitlin Russell, and Olivia Puppo saving the day, able to collide right in front of the crease and able to keep it out of the net for the Bombers.
And the Bombers will bring it all the way into their attacking zone, but the ball will be dropped once again from a high pass, and the Engineers will get possession.
And it's just been a sloppy game so far, Nicole, from both sides. It's not even just been the Bombers. I mean, there's a lot of turnovers so far in this first half, and credit to our athletic staff. They did update the draw control stats, so we do have that now for our broadcast. So it's 5-2 currently in the draw control margin. So I think a pretty dominant in that stat so far.
The Engineers will now have possession in their attacking zone with DeLeo having the ball. She brings it back behind the goal and passes it off to Sojourny behind the goal, who passes it over to DeLeo once again. DeLeo looking to drive in around the crease. She passes it over to Graf, it looked like, who will get that goal for the Engineers, right 5-hole through Lexi Held's legs.
And that ties this game up 3-3 now in RPI. This style of playing that they tried to do in April is now working to perfection here on the South Hill come May, because they have done a great job of bringing it into their offensive zone and just taking time off the clock and just simply whittling down the clock as much as they can, taking as much time as they can to set up the perfect opportunity. And I believe it was actually Quinn Woolard who got that goal, number 10. And so she got the goal, and RPI score tied right now, and they're playing the perfect style. And this is exactly what RPI wants. They want to be able to control the pace of this game. They want to be able to control the clock and keep this one as close as possible. The Bombers, what they want to do is accelerate the pace of this game, make some fast breaks, create some good offensive opportunities quickly, and try and catch the RPI Engineers off guard, because that's where they work at their best. And so right now, it's really crucial that Wise gets the draw control and they go back to that fast break offense that was working so well just a moment ago.
Yes, and we will see if Wise will get this next draw control right now as the whistle is blown. Ball is up. Wise is charging towards the ball. She gets it. Whistle blown, though. Bombers will get possession. Not sure why that whistle was blown, but it was self-start with Veach driving into the 8 now with the ball. She opts to pull it behind the goal into her office, passes it over to Nordyke. It looks like they're set up in their normal status once again. So.
Yeah, I think they made that adjustment, went back to the way that things were before.
Yep, Lily Cody now driving into the 12. She passes it over to Smith, who tries to take a shot, but the whistle is blown before.
Sydney Smith, the first year out of Foxborough, Massachusetts, where the Patriots play. She will be getting a free position shot here against the RPI Engineers. Interesting to see the first year come out so early into this playoff game in a tied game. You normally don't see that.
Very interesting. Smith will line up on the far hash now. She drives in, takes the shot, but it is saved once again by Canfield. Very nice high save, but the Bombers will get that ground ball from that save and get it back. with Phillips now having the ball on this near side. She passes it down to Veach. Veach looking to dodge her defender, but pulls it out once again. Back up to Phillips, over to Green at the top of the 12, over to Cody. Cody looking to do something here. She drives into the 12, but pulls it out and options to pass to Nordyke behind the goal. Nordyke passes it over to Veach. Veach looks to drive into the 8. She takes a shot and scores, and Veach will make her first goal of the game for the Bombers.
4-3 now. Ithaca gets their lead back. 9:28 here left to go in this first half, and that's exactly what you want to see from Veach. Able to go work her matchup one-on-one and able to keep Canfield guessing as to where she's going to go, and then she was able to bring it back, snapshot, near side of the post, able to fit it in between the stick and the post to get the goal.
Very great goal by Veach. That was her 46th goal of the season. Definitely.
And that ties her now. Or no, that was her second of the game, actually. Veach scored one earlier, so that would be her 47th goal, which now gives her the lead on the team over Sydney Phillips by 1 goal.
We'll bring it back to the draw circle now with Wise and Speck once again in the middle of the circle taking this draw. A little confusion on the circle here with the Bombers, but will fix it, and the ref is getting ready to line up for this draw now. Ball is up. Wise goes up for it, and she gets this draw control, which is what the Bombers needed. Wise will pass it over to Cody, who drives into the attacking zone now, drives into the 12. Options to pull it to the far side of the goal. Settle it down a little bit, pass it over to Veach on this near side behind the goal. Veach looking to do something here, maybe feed, maybe dodge. She opts to throw it all the way up to the top of the 12 with Phillips. Phillips looks to drive in, pulls it out to where Veach just was, and passes it off to Nordyke on the other side of this goal. Nordyke tries to feed it into Esposito right above the crease. She takes a shot, but it is saved by Canfield once again.
And credit to Canfield, that's her 7th save already in this first half, and so she's been really on point for this Engineers team, and she's really the only one keeping this one close for the Engineers right now.
100%. Canfield is having an amazing performance so far in this game. Ball's on the ground, but the Engineers will pick it up with McFeely getting this ground ball. Excuse me, it was Graff getting the ground ball for the Bombers, but she will drop it once again, and the ground ball will be on the ground again with Puppo picking it up for the Bombers, now trying to get it into their attacking zone. She's across the field. She passes it over to Caitlin Russell on this near side, who is now charging into the attacking zone. The defense doing a nice job of clearing the ball into the zone for the Bomber offense. Veach will now have the ball on this near side of the sideline, so bring it back behind the goal, settle it down a little bit, try and make something happen, with Lena Naturel now being behind the goal in place of Chloe Nordyke. Definitely something we haven't seen from Naturel a lot, being down low so far. Ball will now be up with Wise on this near side, down to Veach once again. Veach looking to do something here. Nordyke back in her, not Nordyke, Smith, excuse me, back in her spot, back in Nordyke's spot, excuse me. Ball will be up with Lily Cody at the 12. She tries to do something, but will pull it out and try and get to Smith. Smith gets some pressure, and the ball is out once again.
And there's going to be a late foul call there against RPI on the knock on Chloe Nordyke. And I was about to say something if they did not blow that whistle, because I thought that was clearly a foul, especially within the 8-meter fan. Mm-hmm. And so they will do it a little bit later than what I would have liked, but they will blow the whistle and give Nordyke the free position shot.
Yes, Nordyke gets this free position shot now on the far dash. She shoots, but it is once again saved by Canfield.
And credit to the RPI Engineer parents right now. They're louder than the Ithaca fans right now on that far side. Every time Canfield gets a save, you can hear them probably to our right.
The Engineers now driving in with Shea, driving into the attacking zone for the Bombers. She takes a shot on a fast break, but Lexi Held is able to save that for the Bombers.
And Held able to do a nice job there saving it one-on-one against Shea, as Shea had beaten Caitlin Russell down as Russell fell down. And so a nice pickup there by Held, able to bail out her defender.
Definitely. Held will pass it off to Dutchinson, who will get it to Lee Naturel, who's pulling it into the attacking zone now behind the goal for the Bombers. Natural passes it off to Veach. Veach up to Wise. Wise over to Cody at the top of the 12. Cody to Esposito. Esposito down to Nordyke. Back behind the goal, over to Veach once again. Veach looking to make a drive here. She pushes into the 8-meter, but pulls it out once again. She passes it up to Cody at the top of the 12. Cody rushes into the 8-meter, but pulls it out. She will pump fake it against an engineer and get shooting space against them. So Cody will be rewarded a free position shot for that.
I will say the last couple free position shots for the Bombers have all been on that far side of that off angle, and it hasn't so far been very successful. Canfield's been able to save it from that side most of the time.
But not this time, it seems like, with Lily Cody taking that 8-meter shot, going right in Canfield's 5-hole and getting the score up to 5-3 with the Bombers leading.
Well, that's the broadcaster's jinx right there. As soon as I say that it hasn't been successful the majority of the time, Lily Cody goes and proves me wrong right there and gets the multi-goal lead back for the Bombers. They lead at 5-3 now. 6:05 left to go here in the second quarter. And that was a really good play by Cody. And Cody, I think, is the fastest player. And so I think she had probably the best chance out of all the free position takers to get the goal, because she's able to separate herself and close that gap so much faster than any of the other players on this team. And so that's really an advantage, considering we saw when Nordyke was taking free position shots, she wasn't quite quick enough to where she wasn't able to get a clean shot, and the sticks of the RPI defenders were able to block that a little bit.
We'll bring it back to the draw circle now with Wise versus Speck once again taking the draw for each team. Phillips on the draw circle now, and Cody for the Bombers. And then it's going to be Kama on the circle for the Engineers, and I'm sadly not able to see the other player for the Engineers. It was, in fact, DeLeo who makes a run across the circle early on in the game. The Bombers will get that draw control, but a missed pass will have the Engineers once again having the ball, driving into their attacking zone with Shea having the ball leading into it. She passes it off to Woolard, who passes it over to DeLeo. DeLeo now has this ball on the far sideline for the Engineers, looking to do something here. Will she drive? Will she pass? She will pass it up to Valley, who passes it up to Kama at the top of the 12. Kama over to Speck. Speck down to Graff. Graff over to Woolard. Woolard has it behind the goal and passes it up to Valley on the far side of this goal. Now she looks to drive in, feeds it to Graff. Graff takes a shot, but once again, a great save by Lexi Held. And the Bombers will now have possession with Lexi Held passing it off to Caitlin Russell, who is driving through the neutral zone, trying to get this ball up the field. Russell will pass it off to Nordyke. Nordyke will turn, but lose the ball, and the Engineers will pick it up. Engineers once again enter their attacking zone.
I'm watching deja vu here, Nicole, because now all of a sudden the neutral zone turnover problems are starting to come back and creep back in for the Bombers, and it's something that you do not want to see here in the playoffs. This is the time where they have to be the most clean, the most crisp in their passing, especially in the neutral zone.
I couldn't agree more, Alex. We'll bring it back to the attacking zone for the Engineers now, where it looks like it's going to be Eldridge with the ball behind the goal. She passes it over to Woolard on the far side behind the goal. Woolard looking to do something here. She passes it in to Silverman, who takes the shot and scores against Lexi Held.
It was actually Lauren DeLeo who got the goal there against Held. And once again, the Ithaca defense, I think, we talked about earlier in the year how Carrie Moore is trying to adjust that slider of shutting down the cutters or shutting down the drivers. I think right now it's a little bit too more to the driver side, as really the cutters have been really effective against the Ithaca defense right now. And I think that's something that has to be adjusted here at halftime. That's coming up in just about 4 minutes. And now only a one-goal game, 5-4. Ithaca still leading, but just hanging on. And it's really a testament to RPI and learning from their mistakes. And also it's about Ithaca. They need to clean some things up, as turnovers right now. They have 10 turnovers here in the first half, and you would like to see 10 turnovers for the entire game from the Bombers in the playoffs especially. And so that's something that number has to go way down in the second half.
Yeah, it looks like old habits are creeping back in for the Bombers in this game.
And just as a little bit of a score update on the other semifinal between William Smith and Union, William Smith dominating as expected 7-2 with just about 4 minutes left in the second quarter. So right about the same time of pace as what our game is right now.
The Bombers will get that draw control, and we will bring it to Maisie Veach behind the goal on this near side of the field. She'll pass it up to Juliana Esposito, who passes it up to Wise at the top of the 12 now. Wise looking to run into the 12. She passes it down to Phillips right where Veach normally is. Phillips over to, it looked like Nordyke. Nordyke up to Maddie Hall making an appearance in the game. Maddie Hall passes it over to Wise. Wise down to Veach. It's nice to see Maddie Hall in this game right now. Veach over to Nordyke. Nordyke up to Hall once again with just under 3:30 left in this game and 45 seconds on this shot clock. Left in this half, excuse me. Juliana Esposito is now fighting against a defender and passes it off to Nordyke. Nordyke back behind the goal, passes it over to Veach. Veach looking to drive into the 8. She does pass it off to Wise. Wise tries to pull a Twizzler shot there, but it goes wide, and Canfield will get the ball.
That was going to be a highlight reel goal if Wise was able to pull it around behind her back and get the goal. But that time saved by Canfield and deflected wide.
Canfield has the ball in the crease right now, trying to clear it up, and she does. She passes it off to Kama, who will try and get it out of this defensive zone for the Engineers. Kama over to a teammate on the far sideline. Ball is now being driven into the attacking zone by, it looks like, Valley for the Engineers. Valley passes it over to Woolard. Woolard will pass it off to a teammate who will pass it up to Shea at the top of the 12. Shea over to Speck. Speck to Valley. Valley down to Graf. Graf over to Bellinger. Not Bellinger, excuse me. It's going to be Bangel Maver who passed it over to Woolard in the middle of the 8. Woolard takes a shot from the middle of the 8, but it bounces off the pipe, but she will once again get that ground ball. And a whistle is blown. Pressure from Liney Dutchinson, and Woolard will get the ball once again. Woolard over to Valley. Valley over to Graf with just under 2 minutes left in this first half of this game. Ball is back on the far side behind the goal with Valley trying to do something here on the 8. She drives through, takes a shot, but it is saved by Lexi Held. There's a scrum for the ball now on the field. Maddie Mandel looking to try and get that goal, try and get that ground ball, but she does end up pushing over an Engineer, and they will get the ball back.
And that's something that you can't do if you're Maggie Man. You can't just give it back to the Engineers in the offensive zone and give them a reset shot clock.
A high pass to Woolard results with the ball going down and Lexi Kellish picking it up for the Bombers. She will pass it back to Held, who is trying to clear it now for the Bombers to get the ball into their offensive zone. She passes it over to Caitlin Russell with just about a minute left in this first half. Russell up to Veach. Veach is driving into the Bomber attacking zone. This should be the last play of this half for these two teams, with Veach pulling it behind the goal, trying to set something up here for the Bombers. She passes it up to Wise. Wise looking to make something happen. Wise passes it over to Esposito at the top of the 12. Esposito over to Hall. Hall down to Nordyke. Nordyke over to Veach back behind this goal. Veach passes it in to Phillips in the middle of the 8. Phillips' triple team loses the ball, and Canfield will get the ball back to end, looks like hopefully end this quarter off. She passes it up to an Engineer who gets it on the far sideline but is being doubled by the Bombers. Whistle blown. Engineers will get the ball back with 14 seconds left on this clock. They are driving into their attacking zone with DeLeo driving in. She pulls it out. She tries to pass it up to Graf, takes a shot, saved by Lexi Held, and that will be the last shot taken in the first half for these two teams. Alex, at the end of this first half, what are we thinking?
I mean, I almost feel like this Ithaca Bombers team has been a little bit over too confident right now, because I talked to Kerry Moore about how this team is preparing the same, thinking the same, trying to treat every opponent as a tough opponent. But right now, it doesn't look like it. Right now, it looks like the Bombers overestimated what they could do against RPI. And RPI is playing them tough. I mean, ton of credit to RPI. All the momentum and all the credit should be on RPI's side right now because RPI is taking it to the Bombers. This is a one-goal game. When we were predicting, I predicted they were going to put up almost double the amount of goals that they put up in the first half, Nicole. And I think really it's something to where the Bombers, I would rather have them have this wake-up call now against the RPI Engineers than what I would rather have them have it on Sunday potentially against William Smith. Because if they have it against William Smith, it could get away from them, and then it's too far for them to bring it back. Right now, they still have a lead. Yes, RPI is playing them tough, but they still are winning as of right now as we speak. And I think that Kerry Moore is going to give some rousing halftime speeches because right now this team needs to wake up, and this team needs to kick it into high gear really fast in order to try and show out not only this last second half, but also get their momentum and their swagger back because they're going to have a really tough time against William Smith if they are able to move on. It's William Smith continuing to lead Union 8-2, the score at halftime.
And Alex, like you said, you predicted almost double digits from the Bombers at this point. I want to look at the Engineers for a second. What have the Engineers been doing really well to make this game so close?
It's been really taking advantage of the Ithaca Bombers' mistakes right now because when you look at the turnover margin, it is way in Ithaca's favor. It's 12-7. Ithaca has 12 turnovers in the first half. That's something that I haven't seen since the end of last year and the beginning of this season. And so really they've done such a great job of trying to clean that up, and it looks like now they're just reverting back to that old ways. And that's something that really can't happen here. They really need to just try and clean that up as much as possible. And to our Engineers' credit, they're taking advantage. They're taking every turnover and turning it into an offensive possession, turning it into an offensive opportunity to get a goal. Because right now, Ithaca's defense is playing tough. Lexi Hale playing good in net for the Bombers. And so RPI is going to need a lot of opportunities to keep up with the pace of scoring for the Bombers. But right now, they're getting those opportunities because of the turnovers.
And Alex, I want to ask you this. What do the Bombers need to do different in the second half?
They need to convert on their offensive opportunities, and their passing in particular. I talked about at the beginning of this broadcast how Kerry Moore thought the biggest thing that they improved on this season was their connection and their chemistry and their passing. And yet, right now in this game, it's not showing because right now they're making sloppy passes that's resulting in turnovers, not only in the neutral zone, but also in the offensive zone, which really cannot happen. And so it's something that they have to be able to fix. They have to be able to get that right because that's the biggest thing right now that's keeping RPI in this game because they're getting the draw controls that they need. Credit to Caroline Wise and Lily Cody and Sydney Phillips who have been in the draw circle. It's 9-2 in terms of draw controls. I think it's dominating that category, but they're not doing anything with it. And that's the difference in this game right now is that RPI is allowed to hang around because of those mistakes and because of the sloppiness of the passing.
If you were Coach Kerry Moore right now, Alex, what would you be saying to your team?
I would just be saying, we know what we are. We know what we can be. Let's go and act like it. Let's go and show our true potential like we did a month ago against William Smith when they broke the doors open off of the number 2 team in the country at the time. And so where did that team go? Where is that team right now? Because that is not the team that's playing right now for the Ithaca Bombers. They are playing like they did last season, like they did at the beginning of this season, and that has to change here in the second half, and especially going into Sunday against what is looking like William Smith.
Do you think that the playoffs are getting to the Bombers a little bit?
I think potentially. I mean, when you look at the senior class, and the senior class, when they were first years, it was 2021, the last time that the Bombers hosted the tournament and then lost to William Smith in the semifinals, and so I think maybe there is a little bit of nerves and a little bit of pressure because we've been saying all season long that this is the year that they have to try and make a push for the NCAA tournament and the year that they have to push for their first Liberty League title because this team is not going to nearly be as good. And so maybe that's happening right now. Maybe they need to calm those nerves down a little bit. But at the same time, this is still the number 10 team ranked in the country right now. And it's because they've beaten teams like St. John Fisher and William Smith and Hamilton. And so right now, they are still good enough to beat anybody in the country, and I truly stand by that. But they just have to play like it, and they have to execute it. And it's like we said at the beginning of this season, can they put together 60 minutes of perfect lacrosse? And if they can do that, they can beat anybody. But if they can't execute, which is right now what they're not doing, then they're going to struggle.
One more question for you here, Alex. What do the Engineers need to do to keep the momentum for themselves going in this game?
They just have to keep doing what they're doing, and they have to really hope that the Ithaca Bombers don't wake up, because I think truly right now Ithaca's a little bit asleep. Ithaca is a sleeping bear that right now RPI is poking and prodding a little bit and keeping themselves in this game. And it's a matter of if they poke it too much and wake the sleeping bear, then they're going to be in trouble. But I think right now, if RPI is staying under the radar and keeping themselves just at one goal, they don't have to. They don't have to have a lead right now. They just have to keep it within striking distance. That's the only thing they need to do right here in this. Even in the third quarter, late into the fourth quarter, that's when they can strike. But they have to just keep it close right now. And so all that really Leslie Delano has to say to her team right now is just keep it going, guys. I mean, like, this is exactly what they wanted. This is the perfect, really strategy and execution that they could have hoped for so far.
I have a question for you here, Alex. For the Bombers, we've talked about how great Held is doing. We've talked about how great Wise is doing on this, and Phillips and Cody are doing on this draw circle. Who on the Bombers needs to step up in this half?
I think when you're looking at the stats and when you're looking at players who need to step up, I think one of them is Chloe Nordyke. I mean, we saw how she switched sides with Maisie Veach early on in this first half, and they struggled offensively. I think she has to step up, and she really has to get her passing right and her shots right, because she's had a couple opportunities. She had a free position opportunity that she was not able to convert. And Chloe Nordyke, she is a top goal getter on this team. She has 29 goals this season and 5 assists. I mean, she is not somebody who's just a role player on this team. She is a key contributor, and she needs to step up and really contribute to this offense right now. I think she's the one piece that needs to complete the puzzle for this Ithaca offense.
And looking at the RPI Engineers here, Alex, are there any players that have stuck out to you in this game so far?
I think really when you look at the RPI Engineers, it's been Valley. I like Valley's speed, her energy that she's bringing to this RPI offense right now, and the fact that she's been able to take drives and move quickly into zones and create a little bit of chaos, and that's something that's really good for the Engineers. They want to be causing chaos, especially on the defensive side.
Yeah, and any other players you'd like to see step up on the Engineers a little bit?
I think somebody who's going to have to continue to step up, I mean, not necessarily a new player that we haven't talked about, but Jenny Canfield. I mean, she's going to have to step up, and she's going to have a miraculous number of saves at the end of this game if they want to keep RPI in it. And she's right now the only one who's really keeping it. 8 saves in the first half, so this game could have been blown out of proportion if she wasn't playing as well as what she is right now. And so really, she has to continue to step up and be a leader on this team in order to keep the Engineers in it.
Yeah, I'd just like to give a little bit of a shout-out to both Canfield and Held. As a lacrosse goalie myself here on the club team at Ithaca College, I mean, it's a tough position. I think they're both playing really well in this game. Alex, one more question for you here as the half winds down with just under 2 minutes. I asked you this at the beginning of the game. Who do you have winning?
I still have Ithaca taking this one. I think Carrie Moore has shown in previous games, and I think especially this year, especially in that William Smith game that we called earlier, she had the perfect game plan, and she's always been able to get into her players' minds and know what she needs to say in order to get them motivated. And I think what she's doing right now in that huddle is motivating her players, because she knows that this team is absolutely better than the style of lacrosse and the type of lacrosse they've been playing so far in this first half. And they're number 10 in the country for a reason, and they need to go out there and prove it. And I think she's going to motivate her players to do that right now.
Definitely, Alex. We are just about a minute out from this second half. Great game so far from both teams, and we will see what happens.
30 minutes of Liberty League semifinal lacrosse left to be played here on the South Hill. It's Ithaca and RPI coming out of halftime. Ithaca leads 5-4 over the Engineers. Hello, everyone. I'm Alex Schubert alongside me, Nicole Allen. And Nicole, we were just talking about how Ithaca looked a little bit sluggish. RPI has been playing them very, very tough to their credit. Nicole, what do you want to see from the Bombers coming out of this half to really show that they have been motivated and they've been woken up?
I want to see them come out on fire. I mean, we talked about it a little bit. Wise has been doing great on those draw controls. The Bombers have been doing great on that draw circle. But they need to come out on fire. They need to win that draw control. They need to get that fast break, and they need to score goals. When the Bombers come out with momentum, when they come out on fire, they never stop. So I need them to come out on fire in the beginning of the second half to keep that momentum going to get this win.
One of the most important things is them getting momentum and keeping it in this second half. Ithaca will be going from left to right. RPI going from right to left here in this second half. It'll be Wise versus Shea to get things going here in this second half. And the sun has come out here on the South Hill as Kellish will pick up the draw control win for the Bombers and bring it over the restraining lines to get the first offensive opportunity in the second half to the Bombers. Kellish now will pass it behind the net to Veach. Veach now working far side. She'll try and work it inside. Now goes up top to Wise. Top of the 12-meter. Now working towards the far side and bringing it back. She'll opt to go near side to Juliana Esposito. Esposito working out. Now she'll go down low to Veach. Veach across the net to Nordyke. Nordyke now trying to bring it inside. The sun coming out and the shadows starting to play a factor here on the South Hill. Esposito now to Kellish. Kellish down low to Veach once again. 45 seconds left on the shot clock for the Bombers. Veach trying to drive in. Pass it over to Naturel. Picked up by Canfield as Naturel was not able to handle it. And Canfield will get things restarted as she passes it all the way up now to Cedrone. Cedrone now goes all the way up top. 2-on-1 potential for RPI. It's Graff, and she will slow things down as the Ithaca defense caught a little bit off guard, but they're able to rush back. So Graff now will pass it up to Valley. Now over to Shea. Now near side Delano. Woolard now behind the net to Bangelmaver. Far side Shea once again. RPI working the clock. 50 seconds left on their shot clock. 13:30 left to go here in this third quarter. Bangelmaver inside to Shea. Shot, and it goes high and out of bounds. And it will stay in RPI's possession as it looks like Graff was the first one to it. So Graff will keep it going. And they're going to actually call a foul here, so there will be a free position shot here for Shea at a decent angle on the far side to start this third quarter.
It looks like all the free position shots on this side of the goal are from that side.
And Shea just simply drove it right across the crease and dropped it into the net over Lexi Held, and that ties the game now 5-5. RPI and Ithaca, 13-18 left to go here in the third quarter.
Like I tried to say right before that goal was scored, it looks like a lot of the defensive squabbles that are happening for each team are right near that hash for each team. I mean, we've had a bunch of free position shots for the Bombers taken from that hash. We had that one right there. I mean, very interesting parallels between both these teams right now.
And it's a tie game now, Nicole. And this is starting to get a little bit stressful for the Bombers. The Bombers thinking that they could come in here and dominate this RPI Engineer team like they did in April. And now all of a sudden they are finding a lot of struggles here against the RPI Engineers in the playoffs. And when you compare that to the William Smith game, they're having a very easy time against Union. And RPI, I think we always knew, Nicole, that this was going to be a very tough defensive team. And right now, they're playing like it. They're keeping Ithaca to 5 goals where they've been averaging more than 20 in their last 5 matchups.
Yes, they're definitely opening Ithaca's eyes a little bit. And if Ithaca does end up winning, this is a nice look ahead to what the game will be like on Sunday.
And Wise, it looked like she almost had it. However, Shea will be able to take it away for the Engineers and get another draw control possession for her team. So now RPI taking their time getting things set up. It'll go down to Graff. Graff far side will come across the field to Speck now. Speck up top to Valley. And the sun really coming out now. It's very, very bright all of a sudden here at Higgins Stadium. It'll be Graff far side trying to work it inside to Shea. Shea cutting inside shot and a great save there by Held. Able to eat up that shot. and get it back to her defender, Lainey Dutcherson, who will take it away into the neutral zone for the Bombers.
Seems like the little matchup with Held to Dutchinson is the key clearing pattern for the Bombers here.
And Dutcherson brings it all the way across the restraining line into the offensive zone and will hand it off to Sydney Phillips. Phillips now down low to Nordyke, across to Veach. Veach working in her office, one-on-one. Trying to work a little bit around. Double teams come quickly. Veach shoots and scores anyway. Veach gets the goal and gets the lead back for the Bombers. 6-5 now. Ithaca leads. 12:09 left to go here in the third quarter.
Great goal by Veach there. I mean, she used her height to her advantage there. Veach being 5'9", a pretty tall player on this field for the Bombers. She was able to go one-on-one with her defender, look right over their head, take a shot, wind up, and shoot and score. Perfect shot by Veach.
And that's something we haven't really talked about, Nicole, early on in this game. But what I do want to say is that early on in this game, especially in the first half, RPI does a great job of closing in the gap and making sure that they double team, especially Veach and Wise early on. And they've done a great job of closing the distance between their defenders and playing a really nice zone. And right now, and right then, Veach, even though she was about to get double teamed, still able to find a way to get that goal past Canfield.
Just shows how great of a player she is.
And so Ithaca has their lead back now with 12 minutes left to go in the third. Wise and Shea once again in the draw control circle. Wise now as it goes up, and it looks like Lexi Kellish will come away with it for the Bombers. And the Bombers, that's their 11th draw control win. Kellish now working far side, bringing it all the way around the net. And she will pass it near side now to Nordyke. Nordyke now up top to Juliana Esposito. Esposito working her way in. She will drive around, lose it for a second. She went down. Whistle blew for a moment, but no foul called. And so it will go the other way with RPI.
It seems like these refs are not calling very high-pressured calls. I mean, it might be just the thing for playoffs, but...
And then all of a sudden, another controversial call as Dutcherson pushed Woolard out of bounds. Dutcherson thought the foul was on her, but she didn't actually realize that the foul was on RPI because of the fact that Woolard went out of bounds, and so she was a little confused there for a moment, but able to get play restarted for the Bombers. Mandel has it now back to Dutcherson. Dutcherson now, as she's double-teamed, trying to get past the RPI defense into the attacking zone, has to go back to Mandel. And Mandel's going to go across now to Puppo. Puppo now will bring it in, and she looked like she might have shot there for a moment. However, she opts to pass it to Veach anyway. Veach now going around behind the net. She's looking around trying to find a pass. She will opt to go to Esposito near side. Esposito now will go back to Nordyke. Nordyke driving in now, rushing in. She will shoot. It goes wide. Closest will be the Bombers, so the Bombers will keep possession. However, they only have 30 seconds on the shot clock. So Veach and the Bombers are going to have to hurry. 25 seconds. Veach now trying to drive in. Double teamed, and she will opt to pass. The pass got deflected, and it will be picked up by the RPI engineers and given off to Canfield. Canfield now passes it up to Abdel Saeed, who will get the play restarted, now bringing it all the way up to Spizo. Spizo trying to bring it in across the restraining line, and she will into the offensive zone for the Engineers. Now it's over to Woolard. 9:45 left to go here in the third quarter. Shea now across down to Graff. Now down low to Bengelmeaver. Bengelmeaver behind the net, opts to go to DeLeo. Valley now at the top of the 12, goes across back to Speck. Now down low to Graff. RPI, 42 seconds left on the shot clock for them. Bengelmeaver goes up top to Shea again, looking for a cutter. No cutters available. Valley now just holding, looking for a pass. She'll go down low to Graff once again, far side. Graff now 25 seconds on the shot clock. RPI is going to have to try and get an opportunity here, or a shot off at least. Goes to Valley at the top of the 12. Back to Graff. Graff working her way inside. Shot, and a good save there by Held. Able to clean that one up. Held gets it off to Dutcherson, who will bring it back across the restraining line.
Great save by Held there. I mean, she's really working hard to get this Bombers the ball back. And I mean, she passed it right off to Jutchinson once again. Like I said earlier, it looks like that's the clearing pattern for the Bombers. That's been working really well for both of them.
And Cody, a little bit of a struggle to bring it across the restraining line, and she will. And it looks like there might be offsides called, and there will be offsides called on Shea. I think that she's going to have offsides called, and she will.
And offsides when you're on the defensive zone is a green card, so the Bombers will be up now.
And the green card will be awarded against Shea, who steps across the restraining line trying to battle with Cody. And so the Bombers will be a women up for a minute. And this is a big opportunity for the Bombers to get a multi-goal lead back. Wise now, down low to Veach, across to Nordyke. Nordyke now all the way up top to Cody. Far side Wise, now down low to Veach. Veach shoots and scores! Veach from her office, another one to her tally. That makes it 4 goals on the day for her, and that extends the Bombers' lead to 7-5 now, with only 8:11 left to go here in the third quarter.
A great goal by Veach there, just like the one she did earlier in this game. I mean, that was a great pass from Wise to Veach. Great power play there by both of them.
Wise to Veach, that connection has been so strong throughout this season and shows again here in the playoffs.
100%, Alex.
And the Bombers now beginning to get that momentum back. They're starting to wake up, and I think Carrie Moore probably had some very choice words for them and during the halftime huddle, as we were talking about earlier, and they have definitely woken up and answered the bell a little bit here in this second half, which is exactly what they needed to do.
I was just going to say that, Alex. This is exactly what the Bombers needed in order to win this game, and I'm very happy that this momentum has been brought up now because I think it will play really well for the Bombers. Parents getting very loud in the stands.
The Bombers
here.
crowd finally getting into it now, starting some chants up, as they have not had much to cheer about all day long, and now their Bombers have a 2-goal lead.
Looks like the chant is being started by a student in the student section. Great to see some Ithaca students here to support their team.
And DeLeo got fouled there by Cody, and so it'll go RPI's way off the draw control. Oh, and there's going to be a green card issued to Lily Cody there on the foul in the neutral zone. And so that's the first green card we've seen awarded for pressure in the neutral zone. And yet there were some bigger hits earlier on in this game that weren't called. So a little bit of a controversial call there. Bengelmeiver has it in the offensive zone as it's up top to Valley now for RPI. 40 seconds left on the Cody penalty. DeLeo down low to Woolard. Woolard will go back up top to Valley once again. 30 seconds left on the Cody penalty. Now across to Bengelmeiver. Goes up top to Shea. Shea now across to Valley once again. Now near side DeLeo. DeLeo back to Shea. Up at the top looking for a cutter inside. Tried to get it to Valley, and the pass is intercepted and taken away, and there will be a foul called on Woolard, and it will go Ithaca's way. 7 seconds left on the Cody penalty.
That was some amazing zone defense being played by the Bombers. Great communication, great ball movement and tracking by the Bombers in order to get that turnover.
And Puppo bringing it all the way back, all the way behind the net before she finally hands it off. She almost had an opportunity to score there. Esposito goes back to Cody up top of the 12-meter fan. Cody now starting to drive in. She will opt to back out and pass it over to Esposito. Esposito now over to Hall. Hall now down low to Veach. Veach across to Nordyke. Nordyke now up top to Wise. Now inside to Phillips. Shoots and scores! A beautiful feed there from Caroline Wise to Sydney Phillips. And she goes top shelf to get the goal and extends the Bomber lead 8-5 now with 6:29 left to go in the third.
That was some fantastic lacrosse playing by the Bombers here. I mean, it started with that zone defense that I talked about earlier from those Bombers. Great ball tracking, great interception by Wise there. And then, I mean, we got it all the way down to the attacking zone where we were woman down, and we were able to capitalize off of that. And even though they became equal in the very late seconds before that goal, they were able to capitalize and still work together as a team and get that goal, and it was just great ball play.
And that chemistry and that connection, that passing that we talked about earlier, Nicole, is starting to show a little bit more here late into this third quarter. And now the Bombers, They're starting to wake up. I talked about earlier on how RPI was poking the sleeping bear that the Bombers were, and I think RPI has poked a little bit too hard, and the bear, that is the Bombers, that has finally woken up. And the Bombers, this is a rousing start to the third quarter, and this is exactly what they needed. A 3-goal lead. This is the biggest lead of the game for either side.
Crazy stat when you look at the previous scores.
Exactly. I mean, when you look at the history between these two teams, they've been averaging at least a 15-goal difference between the two. And right now we're at 3. And a little bit of a scrum for the draw control, and it'll go the Engineers' way. Now they're going to try and go fast break with Speck. Speck having to get back as Mendel was able to cut her off. And now Woolard will wait for the rest of her teammates to come on side, as there's only 4 RPI Engineers right now on the offensive side. They just did a mass wave of substitutions on that far sideline.
Very interesting thing to do when your team's on offense.
Yeah, they had to slow down and just wait as the rest of their team was still on the bench trying to get on. And now it will be Shea. Now far side and down low behind the net to, I believe that's Graff. Or excuse me, that's Silverman, who just checked back in. Silverman now up top to Speck. Speck across to Valley. RPI wasted so much time, they only have half of their shot clock remaining, 45 seconds. And Valley being driven back by by Lily Cody. And so now it'll be Speck. Back across to Shea. 30 seconds left on the shot clock for RPI. They're going to have to hurry it up. And an errant pass there, and it almost goes out of bounds. Bengalmeave are able to clean it up. Now back over to, that was Silverman who lost it for a second, and it will go out of bounds and go the Bombers' way. So sloppy passing there from the Engineers cost them an offensive possession. And now Dutchison will get things restarted and bring it into the neutral zone for the Bombers.
Looks like the roles might be reversed a little bit.
And that was a bad pass there, picked off by Bengalmeaver. Bengalmeaver not able to do that, and Caitlin Russell's stick went spinning windmill style. And Woolard now goes across up top to to Shea, and now up to Valley as RPI gets another offensive opportunity. That was a wacky sequence there, Nicole.
Very wacky sequence. I'd like to go back to what I was saying right before that happened, and crazy sight to see. I mean, it looks like the roles have been reversed here a little bit, with the Bombers picking up where the RPI Engineers were in the first half, and the RPI Engineers kind of falling asleep a little bit like the Bombers were in the first half.
Oh, and held is out of the net. She wasn't able to get the ground ball, and there's going to be a foul called. And now it's going to be a free position shot all the way probably off of the invisible hash outside of the 8-meter fan. It'll be Shea who will have it. Held came out, and there will be a foul against them.
Once again, on that last hash in the arc where the ball has loved to be this game so far.
Shea now will take it, drive in, and she will shoot and score and beat Held far side near the post, and that makes it 8-6 now. Ithaca still leads, 4:21 left to go here in the third quarter.
Tough position for Held to be in. I think she was a little rattled after that call, after coming out of that crease there with the sequence that just happened. So tough position for Held to be in, but she shouldn't let it get her down. There's still a great chance here.
And I mean, that was just a little bit of a scrambled sequence. There was a lot of stuff going on, a lot of turnovers, a lot of back and forth, and RPI takes advantage of with the free position shot goal. And so all of a sudden now, back to a 2-goal game, back to within striking distance for RPI. And this is what we talked about at halftime, Nicole. RPI, their entire strategy, just keep it close. Just keep it within striking distance for them. And then late into the fourth quarter, that's when they're going to strike. And that's when they're going to try and flip this game and steal it away from the Bombers. And so Wise now will get the draw control nod against Shea. And it is up, and Wise lost it for a second in the sun. And the ground ball's on the ground, and it'll be picked up by RPI. And DeLeo gets it, and then Phillips knocks it out of bounds, and we're going to see, it looks like RPI is going to keep it. And so we'll go back all the way now across to Eldridge. Eldridge up top, an errant pass picked off by Esposito, and Esposito able to get the turnover back for the Bombers. A lot of neutral zone play right now, Nicole.
Great ball tracking there by Esposito. Definitely a lot of neutral zone play, as you said, Alex.
And Russell now bringing it into the offensive zone for the Bombers, and she will slow down and hand things off to Esposito. Esposito now over to Hall, flips it to Cody. Cody just waiting for Wise to come across the restraining line. Now it goes far side to Veach. Veach goes behind the net to Nordijk. 3:25 left to go here in this third quarter. Cody now trying to work her way inside one-on-one, cutting through the middle of the 8-meter fan. She falls down, no foul called, and finally there will be a foul called, and it looks like there's going to be a free position shot for Lily Cody. Once again, the refs late on these foul calls here, Nicole, especially against the Bombers.
Some very interesting reffing as we've seen here today, Alex. I mean, they're really doing playoff reffing, it seems like. It's a lot different from the regular season.
Cody now driving in, and she will shoot and score, and they're going to call a violation on Cody, a false start there. And so Cody, no goal for Cody, and now it's going to go back to the RPI Engineers' way. Once again, another wacky sequence. This game has been reffed very, very strangely. I've never seen this. In all the games that we've called, Nicole, we've called quite a few this season. We've never seen anything quite like this.
Yeah, I guess it's playoffs.
But, I mean, even then, I mean, it's like they've been picking ticky-tacky calls all game long.
Nothing I can really say to explain this because I have no idea.
I'm only assuming that Cody went before the whistle blew where she could start, and now there's going to be a timeout called.
With the air horn. We never heard that either.
And so the air horn timeout will now be called. I think it was RPI that called the timeout. And so, yeah, so RPI called the timeout as it was just announced. And so they'll have a moment to talk things over. I think everybody needs a moment to just calm down here, Nicole. I mean, there's been a lot of stuff that's been happening here in the last 2 minutes. And, I mean, if you're Ithaca, what's happening right now?
I wish I could answer that, Alex. I mean, it's, like you said, it's been a very wacky game, like, chain of events that's happened in the past, like, 3 minutes of this game. I mean, they're playing really well. They're moving the ball really well. I think they just need to keep that momentum going. They started off this quarter really hot, and they just need to keep that going.
Yeah, and it almost feels like this wacky turn of events has sort of almost lost Ithaca that momentum because they were really in their groove, it felt like, for a moment. And then it's just with all the stuff that's happened, it feels like it's just taken away from that and sent it back to RPI's way. And now if you're RPI, still down 2 goals, but still within striking distance, how are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good. I still have faith in the Bombers. It looks like, I said this a little earlier, it looks like the RPI Engineers are kind of falling asleep a little bit. It seems like the Bombers and the Engineers have reversed roles a little bit, where the Bombers are playing like the Engineers are playing in the first half, and the Engineers are playing like the Bombers were. The Engineers are kind of falling asleep. I still have faith in the Bombers for this reason, in the sense that they should be able to keep this momentum going based on how they played this season so far, and they should be able to hopefully get this win.
And RPI, because it was a timeout, they'll get possession at the restraining line, and it'll be Valley passing it up top to Silverman, who will get things across, all the way across the line. That's Graff, actually. So Graff has it. She's double-teamed, fell down, and now the pass is going back across the restraining line to DeLeo, and now it's back to Graff once again. And just a little bit of a scoreboard update on the other semifinal. William Smith clearing it out against Union 10-3 right now. They are winning. So it does look like the winner of this is going to play William Smith in the Liberty League final. And a chance for William Smith to get their 8th consecutive Liberty League championship.
Crazy.
And Wooler now driving in, trying to work her way around in the offensive zone. Only 20 seconds left on the shot clock for RPI, so they're going to have to hurry. And it'll be a foul against Wise. Valley has it. Now across down low to DeLeo. DeLeo with 7 seconds. She's going to have to take a shot. Shoots, and it goes wide. 4 seconds left. RPI keeps position. 2 seconds, 1 second. And it will be a shot clock violation, and it will go the Bombers' way now. 1:30 left to go here in this third quarter. Puppo now bringing it up. Will up to go long pass up to Wise. Wise now scrambling across the restraining line. She might go fast break here. She will have to just slow things down and take it around behind the net. And now she'll go up top to Cody at the top of the 12-meter fan. Across to Esposito. Esposito trying to make a move. Shoots, and it was deflected high. And Nordyke able to keep possession. 60 seconds on the shot clock. 1:02 left to go on the game clock here in the third quarter. Nordyke now up top to Phillips. Across to Cody. Around the horn to Natural, who makes another appearance. Veach now down low. Working her way one-on-one isolated. Trying to make a move. And she'll have to just pass it back up to Cody. Cody now trying to drive in through the middle. She'll drive all the way around the net, pass it up top to Natural, not able to get it cleanly, and a ground ball will be picked up by Canfield. 30 seconds left to go here in this third quarter.
This RPI defense is playing very heavy defense, not letting the Bombers make one wrong mistake.
And this is the RPI Engineers defense we were kind of expecting back in April, and it's shown up here in the playoffs. And so now it'll be Graf, who brought it across the restraining line, and she is just letting Cody try and push her around a little bit.
Cody is face guarding her.
Excuse me, that was Puppo, actually. And a pass intended for DeLeo will be missed, but picked up by Valley. Valley near side, and that will end the third quarter. So at the end of 3, Ithaca still leads 8-6. And Nicole, what were your takeaways from that third quarter?
First, I'd like to take away that the Bombers have momentum now. They have momentum. It seemed to dwindle a little bit in these last 3 minutes of this quarter, but with a little break here, with another pep talk from Coach Kerry Moore, I think they should be able to come back and have that momentum going. I also want to take away that the RPI Engineers were kind of falling asleep in the beginning of this quarter, but really came alive during this second half of this quarter. I mean, like I said right there, when Natural was not able to get that ball, they are playing very hard defense. They are putting a pressure on the Bombers, which is a good thing for them because it does not allow the Bombers to make key plays to score.
And RPI acting like their football team, known for their stout defense. That's what the RPI Engineers women's lacrosse team is playing right now. They are playing tough as nails defense, as they have limited the second highest scoring offense in the Liberty League, only behind William Smith, to 8 goals through 3 quarters, which is something that nobody has done this season except for Trinity. Trinity is the only time when Ithaca has been limited to less than 10 goals in a single game.
Yes, and I think that really shows what playoff lacrosse is like, the difference between the regular season play versus the playoff play. Because like you said earlier, Alex, this is one elimination. Whoever loses this game is out, unless we could potentially get an out-of-conference bid to the NCAA tournament.
And Ithaca is the only one who's going to have a chance at that. RPI has only gone 8 of 7 in their overall season, so it's not going to happen for them. It could happen for the Bombers, but if they don't even make it to Sunday, it's going to be very unlikely that they get that out-of-conference bid, and their season would likely be over.
Exactly. So I think this game is really a prime example to show the differences between what a team was like in regular season and how different a playoff game is.
And not to mention also, when you just look at the shots category, Ithaca, known for high scoring and high shot output, Ithaca in their last game against Skidmore played and outshot Skidmore 45-21. Right now, they're only at about half of that with 24 overall shots, and only 17 of those have been on goal. So really, Ithaca's offense has been stifled today by RPI's defense, and this is not something you want to see potentially going up against another strong defensive team that just got their defenders fully healed in William Smith potentially on Sunday.
Yeah, definitely not what we want to see right now.
And so it'll be Wise versus Shea once again in the draw control circle to get things started here in this fourth quarter. And the ball is up, and it'll be picked up by Shea. And so Shea will have it, and RPI will be going from left to right, Ithaca right to left here in the fourth quarter. And so it'll be Hosford who picked up the loose ground ball after it was knocked at a Shea stick. Held has it now across near side to Puppo, who will bring it up across the restraining line. Now goes up top to Wise. Wise making a little bit of a backdrop move, and she'll just take things rather gingerly through the neutral zone. Now across to Natural. Natural now brings it all the way around the net, far side. And she'll go across now near side to Veach. Veach in her office will opt to just pass it up top to Kellish. Kellish now isolated one-on-one, trying to make a move. She will shoot, and it goes off the crossbar. A crossbar shot there. Kellish, you can't get much closer than that. Esposito now has it at the top of the 12. Esposito now passed it over to Kellish, now to Natural. Down low to Nordyke. Nordic now inside of Natural. Natural not able to hold on to the pass. Esposito picks it up, shoots and scores. Esposito able to take a play that looked like nothing and turned it into a goal. 9-6 now. Ithaca leads. 13:51 left to go here in the fourth.
Great play by Esposito there. I mean, like you said, Lee Natural was not able to get that pass, but Esposito recognized that, got right down, got that ground ball, and was able to shoot it and get that goal. Overall, great ball tracking by Esposito.
And that looked like a play where Esposito was just going to be in a scrum with RPI engineer defenders in order to just get the ground ball and try and get possession back. But she was able to pick it up, not only then get her stick up high and able to get a clean shot off against Canfield to get the goal. And so that's great play from her, and that's what Ithaca needed. They needed a spark here to get them going again here in the fourth quarter, and Esposito provides it in a goal that gets them their 3-goal lead back.
Yeah, and I feel like everyone needed that spark a little bit. When Natural wasn't able to catch that ball, we all just kind of relaxed a little bit, and Esposito was able to grab that momentum and, like you said, get that spark that the Bombers needed.
And Wise now back in the draw control circle against Shea. And then Chance, let's go Bombers, restarted here. Wise now, as it goes up, it looks like she will be able to pick it up for the Bombers, and that's a big draw control win. She'll pass it back to Puppo in the defensive zone, who brings it across the restraining line. Puppo looking for a pass. Working against Speck. And Puppo now losing it for a moment, and she's going to have to rush towards the restraining line. She falls down, able to eventually get it kicked around, and Dutcherson able to clean up the mess. And the air horn goes over on the RPI side. And so they're going to stop it once again. And I think that's a timeout from Ithaca. Another air horn timeout here. And so Ithaca will call a timeout and opt to talk things over to just keep their possession right now. And Ithaca, they're looking a little bit rattled right now.
Yeah.
And that's something that I did not expect to see coming into this one. And, I mean, a team that's riding a 12-game win streak and one of the best-looking teams in the Liberty League, and not to mention in the country right now in Ithaca, I didn't expect them to get so rattled against a tough defensive RPI team.
Neither did I, Alex. I mean, we saw it right there with Olivia Puppo not being able to clear that ball up. I think she fell to that typical lacrosse mindset where you think you need to get it up to the field, even though she could have turned around and she would have had Miney Dutchinson or Maddie Mandel right behind her. I think everyone's rattled a little bit. I mean, there's 13 minutes left in this game. It's a close 9-6 game. The Bombers, like you said, they have had a lot of cushion this whole season where they'll be so many points up where they're able to just play lacrosse. But right now, they're having to fight to get this win. And I think everyone's a little rattled by that a little bit.
And truly, the last time that Ithaca had to fight was a game that you called, Nicole, when you guys called the St. John Fisher game. That was a very tight, close contest. And that one was decided by a few goals. And that was really the last time Ithaca had to face adversity. Because since then, they've just blown the doors off of everybody. And truly, this is the first time Ithaca has been in a game where they haven't had at least a 10-goal lead. I mean, the last time we didn't see running clock was against St. John Fisher.
And that was what,
That was back in March,
Yeah.
March 23rd.
a long time ago. So definitely a little bit of a wake-up call for the Bombers if they win this and have to go into a game against probably William Smith on Sunday.
It's definitely going to be William Smith. They're headed into the fourth quarter. William Smith leads by 8 goals, 11-3. So it's going to be William Smith on Sunday in the Little League final against the winner of this one. Mandel now driving it into the offensive zone for the Bombers. 13 minutes left to decide this one. And who will meet William Smith in the final. And now whistles are being blown.
Offsides?
And, well, the offsides I would assume would have been on Ithaca, but they're going to award a green card to Gabby Valley. I'm not 100% sure what, because she was way behind the play near the restraining line, so I'm not sure what that violation was. But it'll be a green card, and the Bombers will take it at this point. They'll take anything that they can get. So there'll be a woman up for 1 minute. Esposito now has it. Down low to Nordyke. Back up top to Esposito, who had to jump up to get that one. Now across now at the top to Kellish. Near side to Wise. Down low to Beach. Beach across to Nordyke. Nordyke up top to Esposito. Now near side Wise. And there's going to be a shooting space foul called there against RPI and Sabrina Tipping. And so Wise will have a free position shot near side this time against Canfield.
Great pump fake there by Wise.
And Wise will drive in, and she will shoot and score. Wise able to go right by Canfield and will extend the Bombers' lead to their largest lead of the day, 10-6 now. Ithaca leads, 12-19 left to go in the fourth.
Great shot by Wise there. She didn't do the typical free position shot where she just drove in. She drove to the crease and then came across it to try and draw Canfield out a little bit and was able to dump it right behind her. Great ball work by Wise.
And Wise doing a good job there. The veteran, the senior, knowing, having D1 lacrosse experience, transferring from UMass after her freshman season. And so the experience showing there, she knew that Canfield was expecting her to take a shot immediately. She waited. She was patient and able to take the shot that she wanted and get the goal. So 12-19 left to go. Ithaca feeling a little bit more breathing room. 4-goal lead, the largest lead of the day for them and for either side. Wise now being set up, then draw controls are going to become ever more important for the Engineers as they're going to start to feel the pressure of the clock. They have been playing Ithaca pretty close throughout this game, but now that they're down 4, they're going to have to work to try and lower that margin here going towards the late half of this fourth quarter. Russell now has it in the neutral zone across to Hall. Hall now working her way up, splitting some defenders. And she'll get tripped down by Woolard. And there's going to be a foul called against Woolard, and so Hall will have possession still. Surprised no card awarded there. And so Hall will get things restarted as a pass to Nordyke now, down low far side. She'll go across the net to Veach near side now. Veach into Wise, and Wise, there's going to be a shooting space foul called, and she got hit up high by Sabrina Tipping after the whistle had been blown, as Tipping just kept her stick up. And the crowd will give some boos to Tipping there, and she will have to go off for 2 minutes. So yellow card awarded to Tipping, and right now RPI shooting themselves in the foot with all of these cards and these fouls.
Yeah, very rough play here. I mean, that's the second hit up high that we've had in this game so far against the Bombers.
And Wise is going to have to wait as the refs are waiting. Oh, they're going to award a second card. They're not. Shay just came over to her teammate, Tipping, to give her something, I think, as Shay is not sitting down. I thought she was for a moment, and I was going to be very confused.
Yeah.
Wise now drives in. She will shoot and score. Once again, the same maneuver works back-to-back goals for Caroline Wise and extends the lead 11-6 now. Ithaca leads it. 11:38 left to go in the fourth.
Like you said, Alex, same exact maneuver where she didn't shoot right away. She just fully pulled it across the crease and shot. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's what she just did.
And we're going to have to see here now, I believe, RPI, are they switching up their goaltender, Nicole?
It looks like they are. I can't be for certain. These jerseys are very dark, and with the red numbers, it's hard to read, but it looks like they are. Possibly?
It's hard to tell. We are not able to see it right now very clearly.
It looks like it still might be Canfield.
And so we'll wait for more confirmation as we have one of our friends, Tobias Zavore, helping us out here. And so Wise will have the draw control. And it looks like Kellish able to pick up the ground ball there. So Kellish will take it across the restraining line into the offensive zone. And the confirmation is that there's new headgear as a shot by Nordyke is deflected as she went down, and Esposito able to clean up the ground ball. And so extra headgear for one of the players for RPI, number 4. And so that is actually Caitlin Kemp who's getting the new headgear. So it'll be Wise, now down low to Veach. Veach now going up top, back to Wise. Wise working her way inside the 8-meter fan, and she's able to be pushed back by Speck. Natural now, down low to Nordyke. Nordyke across to Veach. Veach one-on-one, pass it up to Wise. Shot, and a great save there by Canfield. She had to go back across her net to clean that one up, but she does get the save.
Great save by Canfield there. Wise had power behind that shot, and it was great that Canfield was able to save that.
And there's going to be a foul called against Ithaca. RPI keeps possession. 10:23 left to go here in this fourth quarter. And the shadow starting to set in on the right side of this field as the sun is setting. And it looks like there's a scrum for the ground ball back in the defensive zone. And it looks like Kat Kama is having some trouble clearing it. Canfield will get it up to the other defender and get it up to Kemp now, who has it in the neutral zone. And now it'll be up top to Woolard. Woolard will bring it across the restraining line into the offensive zone. Now it's up top to Valley, back across to Woolard, down low to Speck. Speck to Bangelmeaver. Bangelmeaver near side to Graff. Goes around the horn back to Valley. 25 seconds left to go on the shot clock for RPI, so they're going to have to hurry up. DeLeo now has a far side. She'll try and work her way around. Shot, and it goes high and out of the way. The shot clock does not reset, so 12 seconds left to go on the shot clock for RPI. Bangelmeaver has it. She'll work it over to Valley. Valley trying to work it inside, heavily defended by Dutcherson. She'll take a shot, and a save there by Held. And there's going to be some whistles, and I believe Dutcherson got hit up high on that play as she is down. And so the Valley will go off for a slashing card, and it'll be another yellow card on RPI in a very physically tough game for the Bombers that they're going to have to play here.
Very physical. Slash is not something you normally see in women's lacrosse. Sometimes in men's lacrosse, but definitely not in women. So definitely a very physical game on the South Hill today.
And Dutcherson looks like she's going to have to come off here for a moment to perhaps adjust her headgear, as I think that's the problem that she might be dealing with. So it'll be Green who will be subbing on for her. And Ithaca will have possession back in their defensive zone. And it'll be Green who will get to have play restarted. Green is going to bring it up into the neutral zone. It was a yellow card awarded to Valley, so 2 minutes of women up for the Bombers. Mandel now will work it across to Russell. Russell will bring it across the restraining line into the offensive zone for the Bombers. Now she'll go down low to Veach. Veach behind the net to Natural. Natural over far side to Hall. Now up top to Nordijk. Nordijk now push back a little bit. Working her way around far side. Trying to look for a pass. No pass is available. She'll opt to go to Veach. Across the net. Pass inside to Phillips. Phillips has to go outside with it. Now up top to Natural. Now near side Wise. Down low to Veach once again. Moving around fast are the Bombers. Nordijk now far side, trying to get inside to Kellish. It was deflected. Veach able to pick it up. She loses it. And now Phillips slows things down and retains possession. Phillips back across to Natural. Across to Hall. Down low to Nordijk. 25 seconds on the shot clock for the Bombers. They're going to have to hurry. Wise now to Natural. Natural across to Hall. Hall working her way inside. She's looking for a pass. Goes down low to Nordijk. Nordijk across, all the way across the fan to Wise, and there's going to be a foul called against Spizo there. And so it'll be a free position shot for Wise on this near side where she has already scored 2 goals. Let's see if she can get the hat trick here for goal number 3 from the exact same spot. She'll drive it up to pass it to Veach. Veach shoots and scores. The cutting Veach adds to her already tally of 4 goals. That makes it 5 for her on the day. A dominating performance from the senior, and that makes it a 6-goal game. 12-6, the Bombers lead it. 7:40 left to go here in the fourth.
Fantastic choice by Wise there. She would not run it in herself and pass it off to Veach there. That was great teamwork there. I mean, she could have brought it in and tried to go 3 for 3 with her style of shot, but it was a great communication there with Veach, just being able to drive right in past every defender and get that shot. And, I mean, 5 goals, pretty great for Maisie Veach.
And that's the highest total that we've seen from any player on this Bombers side was 6 at one time. And I believe it was by Phillips, who had 6 goals against Rochester earlier on in the season. And so Veach has 5 so far in this playoff game. She's carrying the load offensively for the Bombers. And really the 2 seniors, Wise and Veach, showing their chemistry, showing their connection between the 2 of them. Wise has 5 assists on the day now. So she could have assisted on all 5 of Veach's goals at this point. It'll be Wise back in the draw control circle. And the Engineers running out of time as this game is running away from them. And another scoreboard update as RPI does take the draw control with DeLeo. Another scoreboard update, William Smith leading 12-3 over Union as another air horn timeout goes on the field. I believe it was by Union. And so Union will have called it. Or not Union, RPI. I got the games mixed up there. I got the other game on my brain right now, Nicole.
It's okay, Alex.
And so RPI calls a timeout, down 6 goals. Now they were playing Ithaca so close throughout the majority of this game, Nicole. Now all of a sudden they find themselves down 6. What do they have to do and try to get back into this one with only 7:30 left to go?
They have to play tough defense. They have to draw the Bombers out as far as they can, make them mess up almost, and capitalize off of those mess ups. I mean, 6 goals in 7 minutes and 30 seconds, it's going to be hard. So the RPI Engineers really need to play tough defense, get possession, win draw controls, so that they can be on the offensive side of things mostly.
Well, I think the other thing, Nicole, is that RPI has been capitalizing on Ithaca's mistakes so far in this game. And right now, heading into the fourth quarter, it was 15-12 in terms of turnovers. And right now, both teams have cleaned that up. It's only 16-13 now, which means that both teams have only committed 1 turnover in the fourth quarter. And so really, that is something to show how both teams have sort of woken up a little bit, turned that sloppiness into precise passing. And now Ithaca, you're starting to see how they have answered the bell here in the second quarter and started to pull away from RPI. And RPI, that strategy of just trying to keep it close and strike, well, now would be the time to strike, but they're not within striking distance anymore.
You compared the RPI team to their football team. I'll compare the Ithaca team to their football team. They're pulling an Ithaca football fourth quarter team win. I mean, they have really shown in this fourth quarter, and it's what they needed to get the momentum that they can hopefully, if they do win this, carry into Sunday.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of the Endicott game for Ithaca football a little bit earlier in the year where Ithaca had to steal that one away in the fourth quarter in Endicott, Massachusetts. And so Ithaca pulling away from the RPI Engineers here in this semifinal matchup. And they will be playing William Smith at this point. It's a 9-goal lead, only 7 minutes left. That one is pretty much set in stone. And so it's just about who William Smith is going to be playing. Right now, it looks like Ithaca. RPI might have something to say about it in the last 7 minutes and 30 seconds. DeLeo will have play restarted, and it'll go to Graf. Graf back to DeLeo. Now down low to Bengelmeaver. Bengelmeaver across to Woolard. Woolard back to Bengelmeaver. A lot of rotation going on with the RPI offense right now. Back up to Graf near side. Now across at the top of the 12-meter. So I believe that is Shea, excuse me. Now it's down low to DeLeo. DeLeo, I think RPI is trying to go for a bit of an isolation play here. DeLeo trying to work her way inside. She's being defended well by Cody. DeLeo being pushed back. Now she'll opt to go to Valley at the top of the 12. Valley trying to go inside to Bengelmeaver. Bengelmeaver falls down, and there's going to be a foul called against the Bombers. So it looks like no card against the Bombers, so it'll just be a free position shot for Bengelmeaver. Bengelmeaver only 6 goals on the season so far. Bengelmeaver now with Maggie Mandel running in the background. Will now take it. She will shoot and score. A bouncer gets past Held, and Held visibly frustrated after that one. It's now 12-7. Ithaca still leading, 6:41 left to go in the fourth.
Tough spot for Held to be in. I mean, she can't lose her composure, though. She's now standing in the goal. She walked away from her team huddle. It's a tough spot. It's a tough goal to save, but she cannot lose her composure, especially now with just under 7 minutes being left and now the score being closer to 5 now. Held needs to hold her composure here.
You know, especially with RPI, they're going to be bearing for every opportunity. They're going to be trying to get as many shots on Held as they possibly can. Held visibly slamming her stick after that one. I mean, it's a tough shot to save. It's a bouncer. It could go so many different ways off the ground. There's no way for her to really predict it.
Mm-hmm.
And so a 5-goal difference between Ithaca and RPI right now. 6:41 left to go in the fourth. RPI got 1 goal. They need a lot more in order to make this one feel like a game. Wise and Shea are battling for it. Still on the ground. Phillips picked it up for a moment, and Wise knocking it around, and she's still not quite able to pick it up, but she will eventually into the offensive zone. Wise now working her way around. We'll dump it off the Veach. Veach now goes up top to Cody. And now up top to Wise again, now across to Esposito. Esposito now down low to Veach. Veach far side, holding it. She'll opt to go back to Natural. Now up top to Cody. Near side Wise. 50 seconds left on the shot clock for the Bombers. Veach has it far side. Now goes around to Natural again. Bombers just holding it, taking their time, draining the clock as best they can. Cody drives inside, shoots and scores! On the bouncer, she went down as she scored the goal. The goal will stand, and that will extend the lead back up to 6 for the Bombers. They lead at 13-7, and Cody a little bit slow to get up there.
Great five-hole shot from Cody. She's still, it looks like she's kneeling on the field now. Not sure what happened at the end of that play.
I think she got tripped as she was letting go of the shot. She got, I think, tripped or just collided with an RPI defender. She went down hard as she scored the goal. The trainers are out there to help her up. And so there's going to be a bit of a moment here, and there will be a yellow card assessed to Bethy Spizo against RPI.
The RPI parents not being very nice to Cody at this point.
No, they're not. I don't know whether the crowd might pick that up or not, but RPI parents were yelling at her to stand up. And so she will get up very slowly, and she'll be helped off the field along with the trainers. And so Spizo will sit for 2 minutes thanks to the foul against Cody. And so another woman up opportunity for the Bombers here late in this one. And Nicole, with 5:42 left, another goal can pretty much put this one out of reach for the Engineers.
Yep, the Bombers need, if they win this draw control and get this last goal, it'll be a 7-goal lead, and it will most likely be secured.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot that RPI can do, especially without a high-powered offense, to be able to get 7 goals back in 5 minutes. It's just unreasonable.
Yep.
And Wise will get the draw, as there was no draw control face-off really for it. It was simply just a possession. And Green will drive all the way and take a shot, and she got hit hard. And Canfield and the parents calling for a foul there as Green was completely knocked to the ground. And a very hard-hitting game this has been.
Very, very physical.
RPI has it now driving up the far side. I believe it's Kira Abdel-Said who gets checked by Hosford. And a foul will be called against Hosford as Abdel-Said went down there. And she's a bit slow to get up.
It doesn't even look like Hosford checked her. It looks like she just ran into Hosford.
Yeah, it's been, a lot of players have been colliding. And a lot of collisions have been going on right now. So it looks like Abdel-Said will come off, and it'll be Graf who will get play restarted behind the net. And so Graf will have it, still 52 seconds left on the Nordyke, or excuse me, on the Spizo penalty. And so DeLeo across to Shea. Shea across to Valley near side, now goes down low to Bangelmeaver. Bangelmeaver back to Shea. 30 seconds left to go on the Spizo penalty. Now DeLeo across to Bangelmeaver. Back to DeLeo. And RPI taking their time trying to kill off this Spizo penalty before they try and do anything on offense. DeLeo still has it. Working her way around, now trying to go in the middle, and it'll be a shot by Graf. Great save there by Held. She had to go down low for that one. And now it'll be off to Russell to get play restarted for the Bombers as the Spizo penalty expired, so back to full strength are the Engineers. 3:36 left to go. They can take it down to just over 2 minutes and 20 seconds left on the game clock if they take the shot clock all the way down to 0. So Green now has it going around behind the net, and it'll go to Veach. Veach now up top to Wise near side. She'll go across to Kellish. Now across to Natural. Down low to Nordyke once again, and they're just going to go around the horn. Now crossing under 3 minutes left to go here in this fourth quarter. And the Union William Smith game is about to go final. Just a minute left in that one. William Smith a 10-goal lead. So it'll be Wise now trying to drive in. And she'll go back across to Nordyke. Nordyke now up top to Green. Now to Kellish at the top of the 12. She'll drive in, shoot, and score. What a powerful shot from Kellish to beat Canfield. And that extends the lead to now 7. 14-7. Ithaca leads it over RPI.
What a ripper from Kellish, almost at the top of the 8. I would say I'm surprised that the refs didn't call a dangerous shot there, but I'm not with the reffing that's happening this game. But I have to say, great job by Kellish.
And that one will just about be the dagger for RPI, as it's a 7-goal game, 2 minutes and 34 seconds left in the fourth quarter. And the William Smith game just went final. So William Smith will, in all likelihood, as long as barring a miracle, will be playing Ithaca in another Liberty League final. They played last year in Geneva, New York for the Liberty League Championship. Ithaca lost that one 14-3. It was 4-3 at halftime in that last year's Liberty League Championship game, and the story of this season for Ithaca has been the revenge tour, has been trying to get back at William Smith for that championship loss. They'll have an opportunity to do it here at Higgins Stadium on Sunday. And the Sunday game will, I believe, be at 1 o'clock. It will be. So the Liberty League final will be at 1. It'll all likely be Ithaca and William Smith. Two teams that know each other extremely well. Dutcherson wins the draw control, or Ithaca wins the draw control. Dutcherson has it, pass it over to Mandel now. Mandel back to Dutcherson again. Now up top to Green. Green crosses the restraining line into the offensive zone. 2:10 left to go in this one in the fourth quarter. Veach now has it down low. Across to Nordyke. Nordyke now up top to Maddie Hall. Or excuse me, that was Sydney Smith who just checked into the game. Veach now back across to Nordyke. Nordyke still has it. 50 seconds on the shot clock. 1:45 left to go in this one. Smith now to Green. Back over to Maddie Hall. Hall holding it, now down to Nordyke. Veach now over to Wise. Wise holds it, back up top to Veach. 1:24 left to go, 26 seconds, so they'll take it under a minute left to go here on the game clock if they hold it all the way down to 0. Hall now over to Green. Green back to Hall. Now down low to Nordyke. 10 seconds on the shot clock. And Nordyke is going to pass it over to Veach. Veach is going to toss it probably over to the corner. And she will. And so as the shot clock expires, there's 55 seconds left to go here in the game. The shot clock will be ineffective here as there's less time on the game clock than what there is on the shot clock. And almost an immediate turnover. And it will go Ithaca's way. So Ithaca will just be able to hold this one out as Nordyke has it. 40 seconds left to go. Green back to Nordyke. And the crowd chanting here at Higgins Stadium. 22 seconds left to go here in the fourth quarter. Hall has it. Now across to Wise. 18 seconds. Wise just going to hold on to it, play a little bit of keep away. 12 seconds. 10 seconds now. And Wise is going to walk it across the restraining line. And she will walk this one out. 3, 2, 1. As the horn goes, the Bombers advance to their date with destiny on Sunday against the William Smith Herons for the Liberty League final. and they will have a chance to take home their first ever Liberty League championship in their first conference title since 2008. And that game will be at 1 p.m. We will be on the call for that at 1 p.m. back here on the Bombers Athletic stream. Make sure to tune into that one. For Nicole Allen, I'm Alex Schubert saying so long from Higgins Stadium.